Audio test. Welcome to the chat, Andrew. Hope you're having a lovely day, working on a Sunday. No one asking for anything or wanting decisions to be made. Well, that's brilliant. That's a nice easy day then, hopefully. Gonna be live in 5, baby. Oh, may have just spoiled a little bit there. A little bit of a teaser. Whoopsie. Going to be live soon. Very, very soon. Okay, here we go. So hello, welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and yeah, I'm here going to be streaming today, probably on my own, I expect, because a lot of people are tuned into SGC and all the other stuff that's going on at the moment, live streams all over the world. But if you're here, thank you very much, now or in the future, for joining me as I create a Shadow Runeblade sort of style character for Dungeons and Dragons. Now, Haven't really revealed any of this yet because it's still very much in the early stages of planning. But the plan is to have a one-shot campaign. So that's basically just a one-off session with these characters that we're going to be building. And I say we, it's because it's going to be featuring myself. It's going to also feature Red Zone Rogue. It's going to feature Bill from the Spike Feeders, and it's also going to feature Miss Chalice, the cosplayer, who's also done a YouTube channel now on Elden Ring lore, which I think is very, very cool. And it's also going to be DM'd or dungeon mastered by DeadSummerArt, the fantastic individual who makes the lore content for Flesh and Blood, with all the animations and stuff. So it's going to be good fun. I am quite rusty with regards to making characters, but hopefully we can get it in the bag. We will see. We will see. Just checking, making sure everything's okay. Looks like everything will be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my character's story, and then we're going to build that character based on that particular story. So yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to read this to you. Yeah, hopefully it's okay. Transition. Don't know whether I'm slightly behind on the audio, or is it because it's 60 FPS. I'm just gonna check very, very quickly. Bear with me. Check the audio on the stream itself. I think it looks okay. I think there's a slight audio delay with what's coming out of my lips and what's being portrayed on the screen. But that's because I'm using the 60 FPS version of this camera today. So maybe there's a little bit of behind the scenes that needs to be done with that. But yeah, I'm going to read the story now, and after this video, I'm probably going to go back and timestamp it. So people can find the different areas of this video that they want. So this is my backstory for Azra, is what I'm calling it. So yeah. Andrew, you're saying stream is always behind, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm referring to the audio that's coming out of my mouth right now. So when I'm speaking, I think the audio is not matching up with the lips. I think there's a slight delay in the internal program, potentially, with regards to that, because I'm using 60 FPS. Yeah, let's go through the story, and hopefully you enjoy. So this is Azra. So we'll start off with Azra's character. So Azra is a talented individual that is very dedicated to his craft, but despite this talent, he is humble, quiet, and resilient. He is a great listener and always helps others where possible. He lives a happy, simple, and content life in a small village with his family, friends, and other like-minded folk. So it's a nice, close-knit community that he lives with, and obviously it's mainly his family and friends and other villagers that he lives with. He never really talks about his feelings, and he hates small talk and is kind of an introvert, although he can talk for hours on end about his passions in life. He is very protective over his loved ones and his land and his villagers, and he would do anything to protect them. So that's his character. His profession in this village, he is a blacksmith, a carpenter, and a forger for his village. His unique talents allowed his family and village to thrive in a perpetual state of peace outside of the hustle and bustle of the main cities and towns in the world of Wraith. But he does have many visitors from all over the world that have asked him to forge unique weapons, armour, etc. for a high price. So Azra has a lot of skill and expertise in the sort of carpenting, forging, and crafting of weapons and armor and other items, which is why a lot of people from the world of Wraith come to Azra's village to seek his console on forging different pieces of armor or equipment, and obviously that allows Azra's family, friends, and villagers who have stayed there to help him to thrive as a result of that. So they're just living the good life, you know, living off of Azra's awesome abilities and skills. So yeah, a quiet character, very, like a bit of a hermit, really, living outside in the wilderness in his village, outside of the sort of main cities and towns of Wraith. His skills provide for his village, provides for his people, provides for his family and his friends, but he stays out of all the hustle and bustle of the main sort of stuff going on. But people still visit him because he has amazing skills in forging items and equipment and what have you. So yeah, that's Azra's story. So I hope everybody caught that. Welcome to the chat. I am the Fire TCG. Welcome to the chat. So that was Azra's story for the character section of his sort of what Azra is like, basically. So I will read that again very, very quickly for those who may have missed it. I'll read it very, very quickly again. So Azra is a talented individual that is dedicated to his craft, but despite his talent, he is humble, quiet, and resilient. He's a great listener and always helps others where possible. He lives a happy, simple, content life in a small village with his family, friends, and other like-minded folk. He never really talks about his feelings, and he hates small talk and is kind of an introvert. Although he can talk for hours on end about his passions in life, he is very protective over his loved ones and his land and village folk, and he would do anything to protect them. So that's his general character. And of course, he is a blacksmith, a carpenter, and a forger for his village. His unique talents allowed his family and village to thrive in a perpetual peace outside of the hustle and the bustle of the main cities, towns, and establishments in the world of Wraith. And he has many visitors from all over the world that have asked him to forge unique weapons, armor, items, and all that sort of other stuff. So a lot of people come and visit him from the world of Wraith to get Azra's console on various items, weapons, or armor that they want crafted specifically for their needs and requirements. So yeah, that's what allows his village to thrive, is the talents that he has there. Yeah, that's that. So the next part of Azra's story is subtitled "The Day Azra Lost Everything." The day he lost everything. So if you've caught on to this, the stream today is creating a level 5 Warlock character for this, which is based on Shadow Runeblade. So how was a blacksmith, a very, very introverted blacksmith who's living outside of the hustle and bustle of Wraith, how does he become a Shadow Runeblade? That's the question you're probably asking yourself right now. How does Azra become a Shadow Runeblade? It's because of the day that he lost everything. Let's get into it. So the day Azra lost everything. So one day, Azra was out of the village, gathering wood. It was one of his daily routines that got him out and about into the hearts of the forests surrounding the village. So this is just one of the things that he did on his day-to-day sort of basis, his routine. He's like, he's one of these people that, is dedicated to his craft. And one of those things that he does to get out of the sort of hustle, the sort of, the main sort of vibe of the village, just get outside, goes for a walk, goes and gathers some wood. That was one of his main routines in life. So yeah, he gets out in the village every now and again to collect wood for the handles of his swords and the spears and all that sort of thing. He's a carpenter as well at heart, so obviously he goes out every now and again to gather this wood himself as like a little bit of a daily routine to get out of the village. But one day, while he was hacking down some of the trees to use for his famous sword handles, etc., he took a break, he sat down, and he looked at the sky, just taking a break. And it was at that moment he saw many wisps of willowing black smoke rising from where he knew his village was. So he sat down, basically, after he's got all this wood, just taking a break, sweating his arse off in the sort of afternoon sun, and he looked up at the sky just to sort of sit back, looked up at the sky there, and he saw these willowing wisps of black smoke coming from where he knew his village was. Azra knew that something was not right. There was nothing in his village that produced black smoke like that. So Azra rushed back to the village at a demonic pace, but before entering, he hung on the outskirts, just scouting the situation ahead. So obviously he ran back to the village. He knew that obviously the black smoke, there's nothing in the village that Azra knows of that produces black smoke like that. And obviously he's the carpenter, he's the builder, he's the armourer in the village. He knows that nothing is really creating that black smoke. So he rushed back there as fast as he could, but obviously hanging on the outskirts of the village before entering to see what was going on. So, yeah, the day he lost everything had been decimated. Everyone was dead. Everyone. The bandits had laid all the villagers' corpses out and stripped them of everything that they had. It was utterly barbaric. The village was just now a bloody husk, wreathed in flame and the stench of death. And amongst the victims, Azra saw his family, his wife, 2 sons, and dearest friends, all stripped of the life that once was so abundant and pure. And it was in this moment, when Azra lost everything, that he gained something. And that something was a deadly cocktail of rage, hatred, resentment, bloodthirst, and just utter madness. The whole of Wraith stood silent as Azra let out a blood-curdling scream as he charged head-first into the contingent of bandits that stood in the ashes of his village. So before we get to what Azra did next, he was a character that was just, you know, just loving life, really. He was one of those sort of laid-back characters that was just building and crafting and creating things for his village that obviously helped him, his family, his friends. He was just there doing what he loved, his passion, and it was providing. It was giving everybody else life because of his talent. That's what he was doing, and you know that's all he wanted to do. He's a simple person. All he wanted to do was just do what he loved doing to help protect his protect and provide for his village. And then all of a sudden, he goes out one day, comes back, and everything he knew was gone. So if you imagine what that could potentially do to a person, that's what's happened to Azra here. So let's get back to his story. And obviously, I'm not reading the chat at the moment because obviously, because I'm just reading through this. So I hope you're enjoying it. But I like to flesh out my characters. You know, if I'm going to do something, I'll go all in. So this is what it is. Let's go back to Azra's story. So yeah, the whole of Wraith stood silent as Azra let out a blood-curdling scream as he charged headfirst into the contingent of bandits that had stood in the ashes of his village. So much blood was spilled as Azra bludgeoned and hacked the bandits to nothingness with the axe that was solely meant to chop wood. So there he is, Azra, just slaying bandits left, right and centre out of pure agony, pure rage, pure resentment, bloodthirst, utter madness. Everything that he had gained in that moment, he let out on these bandits, and it was just he was just decimating bandits with a wooden axe that was used to chop wood. He was there just slaying everyone. So yeah, it's very much a dull blade that shed much flesh and blood that day. But there were a lot of them. There was loads of them. For some reason, there was a massive contingent of bandits that had just come along, maybe to bargain with Azra. We don't know. We don't know. But there was lots of them. No matter how hard he fought, and no matter how many scumbags he cut down, there was always another. And after about an hour of skirmishing, he fell to his knees in the face of maybe 30 adversaries. He was spent. He was mortal. He had no breath left. No energy. Nothing. So out of pure rage, pure resentment, pure hatred, he rushed into the village with nothing but a wooden axe that was used to chop wood, and he felled many bandits just out of pure bloodlust. But of course, Azra is only mortal. He only had a certain amount of energy. You know, you can't cut through an army of people just on your own. You can't do that. So he dropped to his knees, and he was just like, he had no breath left, no energy, couldn't fight any longer. So the raiders were all about to surround him and lay him down with the rest of the townsfolk. They're about to just end his life like they did with everybody else, just pillagers, looters. But this is when time itself just stopped. Time just stopped in this moment. Everything around Azra ceased in this moment. He looked around and everything, even the wind in the trees, had stopped. And the general energy of the world faded away and everything turned dark. This is where Azra met Blasphemate, an entity of pure evil. Blasphemate appeared before Azra, recognizing his murderous, rage-filled slaughter. After all, he is the harvester of souls. Blasphemate had used his dark, arcane magic to freeze all of the village in a state of a frozen moment, just so he could converse with Azra before the raiders cut him down. It was here where Blasphemate proposed a bargain with Azra. Blasphemate told Azra that he could have the demonic and arcane power of the demon at his side for all eternity, in the exchange for delivering tormented souls. Blasphemate used Azra's torment against him and told him that he could prevent this kind of massacre from ever happening again to other innocent people, using Azra's recent losses to influence the pact that was about to happen. And in this moment, when Azra again had lost everything, he accepted the demon's offer. He would wield the demonic power bestowed upon him by Blasphemate to try and prevent this from ever happening to others, at the expense of his soul's own enslavement. So that's pretty much the story. That is pretty much the story regarding Azra. So basically, he is a skilled blacksmith, a skilled crafter, who one day just decided to go out into the wilderness, obviously as part of his routine. He chopped down loads of wood, obviously took a break, and then realised his village was getting attacked. And then all of a sudden, he made a pact with Blasphemate to gain arcane power that was then being used to basically stop evil from ever happening to any other innocent people, but at the expense of his own sort of soul and his own sort of livelihood. So yeah, I'm just looking at the chat now. So we've had a few people come in since then. Let's have a look. Wolzlek is saying kinda OP. In any case, happy coffee. Yeah, level 5. Okay, it makes sense. Makes sense as a bit of a backstory. The day lost everything. Goodness, yeah. Plot is pretty normal on tabletop. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons yet, so I'm keen to learn what the character building is like. Yeah, it's very intricate. The character building is very intricate, so I'm hoping somebody can help with that. We'll see. I haven't done it in a while, so it's going to be a bit of a remembering exercise. Afternoon, Andrew Mason. Welcome to the chat. Minor pet peeve, decimate means to kill every 10th individual. Roman legion discipline for massive screw-ups. All right, I did not know that. Oh, yeah, decimate. I think the des part of it is 10, isn't it? I think it is. I think that's correct. But yeah. We've got quite a few viewers now all of a sudden. So, yeah, I've just ran through my my character's backstory. So hopefully you can catch that now or in the future. So yeah, go and have a look at that if you're keen to see what this character's story is all about. But for people who are joining now or in the future, this is for a campaign or one-shot, sorry, potential campaign, we'll see. But this is for a one-shot that I'm going to be doing with Red Zone Rogue, Bill from Spike Feeders, and Miss Chalice. And it's going to be dungeon mastered by DeadSummerArt, who does the animations and lore videos for Flesh and Blood. So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory for the character, and now I'm going to go into creating the character. And again, this is a bit of a long haul, so hopefully you've got an hour to spare potentially. And if there's anybody in the chat or anybody out there that can correct me on stuff that I might be doing wrong, it's been a while since I created a character, but I think it's going to be okay. We'll see. So let's get straight to it, shall we? Let me just go to the top down so you can see what's going on. So this is the Dungeons & Dragons character sheet. As you can see, you've got the name, class, level, race, all this sort of stuff. You've got your ability scores here. You've got proficiencies, equipment, attacks and spell casting, current hit points, features and traits down the side here. Then we got loads of things here. This is for like just flavour purposes, and obviously you've got your spells at the back there as well. So we're going to be filling this entire sheet out. And we've got the player's handbook plus a little bit of printouts from Xanathar's Guide to Everything to access the Hexblade class, which is probably what we're going to be using. We will see. Hexblade pact, should I say. It's still a Warlock, but the Hexblade is like a patron you can use apart from the ones that are in the book. So we're going to be using that just to confuse things even further. Matthew Rodriguez, welcome to the chat. This is exciting. I would play a Runeblade through a whole campaign if possible, is what you're saying. Yeah, this is going to be a one shot that I'm playing with Red Zone Rogue, Bill, and Chalice. Obviously, DM'd by DeadSummerArt. I'm just going to keep shouting those guys out because they are fantastic. They really are. But yeah, this could evolve into more of a campaign. But we will see with that, Matthew Rodriguez. But yeah, I'm playing this Shadow Runeblade, and this is based on the Warlock class. And DeadSummerArt is here in the chat, so welcome. I don't know how long you can stay around though, because what time is it in where you are now? It's going to be got to be early morning, surely. And you might, depending on how long you stick around, Mr. DeadSummer, Mr. Kale, you might be able to help with me with the creation process, because I'm still very, very rusty in doing this. Big Boss Book Club, you're saying never played Dungeons and Dragons before. Very interested to see the actual one shot. Yeah, it's going to be really good. It's going to be really, really good fun. Yeah, kind of figured it would be Hexblade subclass. Yeah, it's basically the Hexblade is a patron. Basically, if you're a Warlock, you make a pact with a patron, and that patron is probably going to be the Hexblade class, because it's just more fitting as to what's going to happen with my character. Because Warlocks don't really tend to be melee in the thick of combat, but because I wanted to have a Runeblade character, which obviously is known for fighting, you do want to have that melee capability with Dungeons and Dragons. So first of all, if I just go on to my little guide here as to how to create characters, the first thing that you would normally do is choose a race. Now we're going to do that. So if we open this, races, I'm going to be a human just to make things easy. So I'm going to be a human, which is page 29 of the player's handbook. So if we go to this page 29, human, here it is. In the reckonings of most worlds, humans are the youngest of the common races, late to arrive on the world scene and short-lived in comparison to dwarves, elves and dragons. Perhaps it is because of their shorter lifespans that they strive to achieve as much as they can in the years that they are given. Which is fair enough. Obviously, they don't live long as elves and dragons and dwarves and all that sort of thing. So, nice little bit of flavour. But yeah, the D&D handbook, the player's handbook, is just fantastic. I would definitely recommend getting one if you are looking to start this sort of thing. Or even just if you like fantasy in general, just have a read through, create some characters. It's great fun. So yeah, if we look on page 31 of the player's handbook, if you've got one hanging around, you could potentially follow this whole process. It's hard to make generalizations about humans, but your human character has these traits. So your ability scores all increase by 1. So I need to make a note of that. So I'm just going to write obviously my character's name and stuff on here while I'm doing this. I can write this in permanent marker because obviously this is not going to change. So my name is Azra. His class will be a Warlock. Obviously we'll get to that in a bit, and obviously he's going to be level 5 because obviously the campaign that Mr. DeadSummer is doing, well, not campaign but one shot, is all going to start at level 5. So obviously we're going to be going through those level ups in a moment. And there we go. DeadSummerArt saying the amount of times I've read that book is astonishing. Yeah, there's so much stuff in there, isn't there? I mean, I used to have everything. I used to have the Xanathar's Guide, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, obviously Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, Tome of Foes, whatever it was called. I used to have everything for it, but I got rid of it all because I never thought I'd play it again until Flesh and Blood, until we do this, Mr. Kale. So, yeah, if you haven't followed DeadSummerArt on YouTube and what have you, go and do that because obviously a lot of this content is going to be pumped out over there as well, I expect. And should you be so inclined, you are more than welcome to use the variant human racial traits. Yeah, so obviously what he's pointing out here is the variant human traits. So if your campaign uses the optional feat rules from Chapter 6, your Dungeon Master, aka DeadSummerArt, might allow these variant traits, all of which will replace the human's ability score increase trait. So if we want to use this, DeadSummer is now saying that we can. So shall we use this? Shall we use the variant human trait? We get, instead, we can increase 2 different ability scores by 1 instead of all of them. And then we can gain proficiency in 1 skill of our choice, and then we can gain 1 feat of our choice. I think we should probably use the variant human. Feats are fun. There we go. Let's use variant human. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Andrew. We'll use that then, shall we? And thanks, DeadSummer, for allowing me to use the variant human trait. So, variant human says ability score increase of my choice by +1. Yeah, you can drive your DM up a wall with the feats, apparently. So yeah, we'll do that then. So with a Warlock, we do want high charisma, so we'll give ourselves a +1 there from variant human. So I'll write that down as a +1 so we know. And then we also probably want wisdom or intelligence, maybe. We'll just go with wisdom. We're going to be rolling our stats as well. So we're just gonna chuck it in here. Actually, no, we're not going to use wisdom. Azra is not wise. He made a pact with a demon. Let's be honest. He is not wise at all. Let's just go with Constitution instead. Let's give him a +1 there for Constitution. So that's the variant human stat increases that we get straight away of our choice. And we also get a skill. You gain proficiency in 1 skill of your choice. So I imagine the skill proficiencies are these ones here. Yeah, skills. Here we go. So what do we want? We probably want... we get to put this proficient. So we're going to use this permanent marker. Let's just say we are good with... as a result of our variant human, we'll say we are good with survival. Let's go with survival. Because he lives in the wild, you know, he's good crafter and stuff. He could probably survive in the wild if he wanted to, and now he's a lone wolf. His village has been massacred as a result of the bandit attack. So yeah, let's go with survival as his variant human proficiency. So we gain proficiency bonus for survival because of variant human, and then we get a feat. Constitution is a great stat for Warlock up in the melee fight or the fray. So yeah, I'm glad I chose that one. So let's go to feats then. So where are feats in this book? I can't remember. They are somewhere in here. Where are they? Adventuring. No. Playing the game. There we go. Here are the feats then. They're here. Character customization options. Feats. Here we go. So my Dungeon Master, DeadSummer, thank you very much for letting me allow me to use these. Okay, so we've got loads of different feats going on here. Alert, Athlete, Dual Wielder, Defensive Duelist, Crossbow Expert, Charger, Actor. He's definitely not an actor, is he? Definitely not. We want something maybe like a Great Weapon Master or something like that. Something that allows us to just utterly destroy people. So if you've got a suggestion, right, yeah, I guess you could probably choose your background before choosing skills, just to make sure you don't double up on the same. The lady over the cauldron, yeah. Andrew, if you got a book, you've got a book, haven't you? You're seeing this in advance. One of my landmarks to find that part of the book. So what, if you got a player's handbook, then Andrew, that's good. Okay, so we'll choose the feat in a moment, shall we? So many good stuff here, isn't there? Weapon Master. Increase your strength or dexterity by 1. You gain proficiency with 4 weapons of your choice. Each one must be a simple or martial weapon. Interesting. Yeah, so there's quite a few different feats you can choose from here. Before you make a melee attack with a heavy weapon that you are proficient with, you may choose to take a -5 penalty. If the attack hits, you add +10 to the attack's damage. I don't think I can do that because I'm not going to have a heavy weapon. Unless you allow me to, DeadSummerArt. Can I have a heavy weapon, please? Can my sword be a heavy weapon or not? I haven't even shown anyone the sword yet. So let me just go into studio mode to make sure I'm not going to spoil anything. So yeah, let's just go over to this. So if we have a look, this is the weapon, the Soul Harvester. So basically, Blasphemous, the entity that has given Azra his his demonic power, has given him this sword, the Soul Harvester, which basically is the thing that captures the souls. So when Azra kills people or kills enemies, if that creature has a soul, obviously it will be absorbed into this sword. So I'm going to ask my DM, who's obviously in here at the moment, can this count as a heavy weapon towards the Great Weapon Master feat? Because if I can, I will take it. I will take the Great Weapon Master feat just to deal some raw damage. DeadSummerArt says, I believe any character of a size of medium and above can use heavy weapons. Small or smaller take a penalty to hit. Now, I think that is true. So like a gnome or a halfling can't use a heavy weapon, basically. But I believe my character can without no penalties. But can I use this sword as a heavy weapon, or is it not? Because I think you... I don't want to spoil it now, but it does say that it's a long sword, so that's not a heavy weapon, really, is it? So I don't think I can use Great Weapon Master with this sword, with a long sword. Or can I? I don't know. Because long swords are also versatile, which means you can wield them with 2 hands, but it's still not a heavy weapon. Yeah. So yeah, we've got the Soul Harvester, which is obviously Azra's main weapon, which is what he's going to be using all the time in combat. So let's go back down to the top-down camera. So yeah, Great Weapon Master, probably the one I would choose if the sword that I have counts as being a heavy weapon. But I don't know. I'm not sure yet. What feat do I want to have? Would probably have to use it as a greatsword for that effect. Depends if Warlock Hexblade has proficiency with greatswords. There's a weapon mastery for each class of weapon, I think. Oh, was there? Weapon Master. Okay, here we go. Weapon Master. You have practiced extensively with a variety of weapons, gaining the following benefits. Increase your strength or dexterity score by 1 to a maximum of 20, which is quite good. And then you gain proficiency with 4 weapons of your choice. Each one must be a simple or martial weapon. But I think I'm already going to get proficiency from my class for the actual weapon itself. I'm not sure. But that could be good, raising a stat and then getting proficiency if needed. But I think I'm already proficient with my weapon that my Dungeon Master's saying. But let's have a quick look at the Hexblade thing very, very quickly, just to see what put that there as a reminder of where that page is. So let's have a look at the... So these are the Xanathar's Guide Hex Blade pages that I'm using here. So, spoiler alert, I'm going to be a Hexblade character. So at first level, you require the training necessary to effectively arm yourself for battle. You gain proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. And the influence of your patron allows you to mystically channel your will through a particular weapon. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one weapon that you're proficient with that lacks the two-handed property. And when you attack with that weapon, you can use your charisma modifier instead of your strength or dexterity. Yeah, that's quite good. So obviously you can use your charisma instead of your attack, your strength or dex, which is quite good. And if you later gain the Pact of the Blade feature, this benefit extends to every packed weapon you conjure with it, no matter the weapon's type. So Andrew is saying, I think the Hex Blade subclass gives you auto proficiency with the packed weapon. So yeah, I think that is correct. If I just have a look, improved packed weapon. The weapon gains +1 to attack and its damage rolls unless it's a magic weapon that already has bonus to those rolls, which it is. So it is a magic weapon. And then finally, the weapon you can conjure is a short bow. Don't need that. That's fine. Don't need to worry about that. So what do we choose? What do we choose for the feat? What do we choose? This is thrown a right old spanner in the works, this hasn't it? Variant human. I get to have a feat, even though I don't know what feat I need, what feat I want, basically. We can always change it. This is just a... I just don't know. I really don't know what I need to have. I've just read your message as well, Dead Summer. You can always jump. I can always jump into a voice chat should you prefer, or a more hands-on help. That could be a good shout, actually, as long as I can get the audio to work for the stream. It should be okay, though. Can make it so your weapon uses the stats of a greatsword, but would mean you can't hold it in one hand. Yeah, I don't think I would. I don't think I would need to use one hand with this, to be honest. Yeah, let's come back to the feat once I've had a look at the other stuff. That's fair. We'll come back to that, because I never accounted for that. Before I started this stream, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to choose human, which is nice and easy. The feat has completely thrown me off there, so I'll just come back to that for now. So let me just go back to the thing here. So yeah, the human. Let's go back to the human. The variant human, as we decided. Page 29, it was. So, of course, we have ability score increase of 1 of each that we've chosen, variant human. We get a skill, which I've already done, which is survival, and then we gain one feat of our choice, which we'll come back to later. Then it says the alignment. Now, this is up for debate, because I just don't know what my alignment might be. So, if anybody knows, or anybody could give me an insight into this, the Punisher from Marvel... Obviously, he kills villains. He kills them with no remorse whatsoever, but he still has a moral code. He still thinks he's doing good by killing people. So what do we think Azra's alignment would be? He kills things that are bad in order to fuel his sword for blasphemy, because that is his pact. He wants to take on the arcane power to be able to stop massacres or villains or horrible people from ever hurting innocent people ever again. So he takes this demonic power from Blasphemous and obviously uses it to destroy and absolutely obliterate people that are bad with no remorse. So what alignment is that? Is that chaotic good? Or is there some evil in there? There's got to be some evil in there. I just don't know what that is. So alignment is up for discussion in this chat. So let me know. Obviously, we got the size. Humans vary in size and build. So the size is medium, which is fine. Speed is 30 feet. So let's put our speed in here. So that's how far we can travel in a single turn, I believe, when we're moving. Then we've got age. So let's put, well, that's in the next section, really. We'll choose, obviously, you've got human here. Human variant. Background is going to be Guild Artisan. I've already chosen that. I already know that's going to be the case. So Guild Artisan will be the background, which we'll do in a bit. Alignment, again, is still under discussion. Player name is As. Experience points is 0. So DeadSummer is saying, if you follow a law or personal code, you are lawful. If you are impulsive, you are chaotic. I'd probably say you'd fall somewhere on the neutral scale, whether lawful, true neutral, or chaotic. So yeah, I don't know either, to be honest. There is a code there. There is a code there. He doesn't break the law. Really, he lives within the restraints of the world of Wraith, but he just kills out of he just kills bad guys, basically, like the Punisher, with no remorse. And unless DSN or DeadSummerArt really wants alignment, I wouldn't worry. So yeah, let's if you know we can I would say let's have a look. Chaotic. Impulsive, he is very impulsive. Well, I guess he would be because he just kills bad guys. But he does have his own code, which is the thing. That's the thing. I don't know with that. Experience points, there is none, I guess, in this. It's just sort of check marked or bookmarked. Well, I don't know how you call it. Sort of scenario driven when you get your experience points. Inspiration, nothing there at the moment. Proficiency bonus obviously will change. I think it's +3 at level 5, but obviously we can go back to that later. Languages, you can speak, read and write common and one extra language. So this is going to be common language. Common and infernal I'm going to choose. Infernal is like a demonic sort of tiefling sort of style language, but I think it's probably the most demonic language that I could potentially speak, so I'm going to say infernal. So yeah. DeadSummer is saying, I'm not fussed about alignment for the most part. It's more of a consequence of actions rather than something that dictates your actions. Yeah, exactly. So alignment can just stay. We can just put a question mark there, can't we? We'll put a question mark there because we just don't know really. He's a good character, but he's been driven to madness by obviously this the experience that he had with his village, and obviously taking on the pact with the demon. So yeah. So that's pretty much it with the variant human. Obviously, we still got the feat, which we need to write this here. Feat for variant human. We can just write there as a reminder that we still need to take that when we can. So yeah, feat for the variant human, we still need to do that. But let's go to the background now. The background, I've already decided what it's going to be, and that's going to be Guild Artisan, basically because he is a blacksmith, a forger. He's going to have experience and background in those areas. So let me just go on to the backgrounds, which are here. Guild Artisan, I turned right onto it, see. Lovely. So it says you are a member of an artisan's guild, skilled in a particular field or closely associated with other artisans. You are a well-established part of the mercantile world, freed by talent and wealth from the constraints of feudal social order. You learned your skills as an apprentice to master artisan under the sponsorship of your guild until you became a master in your own right. So that's probably the closest we're going to get to the Azra's background, because obviously he's mastered the art of craft for his village, and obviously forging weapons and armor and items for people from all over Wraith. So that makes sense. So the skill proficiencies we get here are insight and persuasion. So obviously the one we chose earlier from the variant human was survival, which makes sense. So here we're going to get insight and persuasion. So let's just colour these in. So insight and persuasion. We get proficiencies. Tool proficiencies, one type of Artisans Tools. So Artisans Tools, what on earth are they? I guess where would I find Artisans Tools? One proficiency with Artisans Tools. Just going to Google it very quickly. Artisans Tools. Oh, there we go. Okay, so Artisans Tools. We've got Carpenter's Tools. Probably would be leather workers, masons, potters, smiths' tools, weavers' tools, woodcarver. So maybe smiths' tools. He's mainly making weapons. So I'll say I reckon we should say smiths' tools that he's proficient with. That'd probably be the best thing for that. Best for forging armor and equipment. Smiths' tools. (154) of the player's handbook. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, let's go with Smith's tools. Let's say we're proficient with Smith's tools, which are good for forging armor, I imagine. So let's go with that. So we'll write this on the... Where's my goddamn pen gone? For goodness sake. Lost it already. There it is. So yeah, other proficiencies languages. So I'll put this under here. Smith's is probably the closest. Yeah, so we'll use that then. So Smith's tools. And this is good for you, Dead Summer, because you can see what I'm proficient with, what my character likes to do, and you can maybe, you know, add that to the one shot that we do. Who knows? So it's always a good exercise to get involved with the character creation process, and I appreciate you being here, sir. Thank you very much. Let's have a look. So that's that. Then we get a set of Artisans Tools of your choice and a letter of introduction from your guild and set of Traveller's Clothes and a pouch containing 15 gold pieces. Lovely old job. So we do get a Smith's Tools. So we do get a pair of those. So we put that in the equipment section. Smith's Tools? Probably would, wouldn't we? There's no like items or anything, is there? Treasure, backstory, appearance. I can fill those in another time, because you already know what that is. Let's put them in here. Let's put Smith's Tools at the bottom here. Let's just make a separate box, shall we? On the edge. Let's just put them down here. Smith's Tools. This probably won't even matter anyway in the game, but we'll see. Smith's Tools. There we go. We've got a pair of Smith's Tools if needed. So, guild business. So guilds are generally found in cities large enough to support several artisans practicing the same trade. However, your guild might instead be a loose network of artisans who each work in a different village. Look at the flavour of a larger realm. Work with your dungeon master to determine the nature of your guild. You can select your guild business from the guild business table or roll randomly. So here we go is the guild business here. So obviously we probably want smiths and metal forgers as number 16. So that's probably what we want there, smiths and metal forgers. So yeah, maybe there are, as a result of people coming to Azra in his village, seeking him for guidance on how to build this item or this weapon or this armor, he's forged relationships with other people around the worlds of Wraith that obviously know of his trade or what have you. So maybe this would come into the one shot or the campaign at some stage where Azra has built a piece of armor for a certain character or a weapon for a certain character, which then needs something to move the story along. Who knows? But that's a cool little thing. Then we've got, as a member of your guild, you know the skills needed to create finished items from raw materials, as well as the principles of trade and good business practices. The question is whether you abandon your trade for adventure or take on the extra effort to weave adventuring and trade together. Then we've got guild membership feature. As an established and respected member of the guild, you can rely on certain benefits that membership provides. Your fellow guild members will provide you with lodging and food if necessary, and pay for your funeral if needed. That's nice. And in some cities and towns, a guild hall offers a central place to meet other members of your profession, which can be a good place to meet potential patrons, allies, or hirelings. Yeah. Cool. That's not going to be much of that. Not going to be that important. So yeah, going back to this, we get a pouch containing 15 GP and Traveller's Clothes as well. Don't know what Traveller's Clothes do, but maybe that's just something that protects us from being naked. Maybe. Traveller's Clothes and a set containing 15 GP. So let's just chuck that in here. That's there, 15. $15 GP, isn't it? Gold pieces, right? Which is this one here. It's a bit faded, but that's fine. So that's my background. Obviously, that background gave me insight and persuasion. My variant human gave me the survival proficiency, and that is pretty much it for the background and the race. So let's go on to the big stuff. Let's go on to the class now. Finally, after 1 hour, so let's go on to the class. Yeah, it's here. So creating a Warlock. Traveler's clothes is just general clothing you'd wear should you even take off your armor. Yeah, when's Azra going to take off his armor? Who knows? So yes, here we go. So classes, just have a look at this. Choose background. Should we roll our ability scores now before we go into the class? Probably should, shouldn't we? We should probably roll the ability scores now and then decide where they go as a result of the class stuff that we get, right? Maybe we should do that. Is it a good idea to roll stats now? Do you think? Good idea? So we roll 4 dice and take away the lowest one, don't we? We can do this now, can't we? What do we think? Roll dice now? Roll feats now? I think we should do this now. I'm just looking at the character creation sheet thing here. It says choose a background, then start doing your ability scores. I think. Just looking at my little sheet here. There's a lot that goes into creating a character, there really is. Choose a race, class, and background. So choose. Oh, I should have chose a class first. I should have chose a class after the race. Really, that's the order of things. I think looking at this, but let's just roll the dice. Andrew Mason is saying. So yeah, let's go. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. So take away that. So we got straight away. We got a 14, which is not bad. So let's write these down. So we got 14. Let's just write this here. 14. Take away 1. So that's a 11. 14. 11. Oh my god, that's a ridiculous one. Okay, so that's 11, 15. Oh, goodness me, I'm getting some good ones here, aren't I? 13. 7. 12. That's a bad stat, that one there, isn't it? 7. That's a really bad one. That's a really low one. That can go into wisdom, 100%. And that's it, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 stats there. That's all we need, isn't it? 6 stats. Because you're saying DeadSummerArt 4d6, drop the lowest, do that 7 times and get rid of the lowest out of the 7. So we do that again and get rid of the lowest one. Okay. You're the DM, so I'm gonna say we do this then. Get rid of that. And then we have 9, 11. So we got 7 stats here. We have 14, 11, 15, 13, 12, 7, and 11. So are you saying that we drop the 7? Or should we keep the 7? Should we have a really bad wisdom for the sake of having it? Get rid of the 7. Okay. Cool. get rid of the 7. So we have... So we have 14, 11, 15, 13, 12, and 11 as our stats. Lovely old job. You can keep the 7 if you truly wish. Maybe I should. No. Let's just go with that. Let's go with that. Cool. So, but you can drop it and keep the top 6 as well if you want, your choice. No, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just keep this then. So 14, 11, 15, 13, 12, and 11 we have now. So that's cool. It's good to know. So yeah, going on to the class. Just keep those aside for now, so we know, because we know what that is. So first of all, we get, it says a quick build. You can make a Warlock quickly by following these suggestions. First, Charisma should be your highest ability score, followed by Constitution. So luckily we do get that anyway from the Variant Human, which is nice. Second, choose the Charlatan background. Don't need that. Third, choose the Eldritch Blast and Chill Touch cantrips, along with the first level spells, Charm Person and Witch Bolt. So obviously we can have a look at those in a bit anyway. So as a Warlock, you gain the following class features. You get hit points, 1d8 per Warlock level. So hit points at first level is 8 plus your Constitution modifier, which I believe is... we haven't done that yet. So let's allocate these stats then, shall we? So we're going to do... The 15 will go in Charisma, which will be bumped to a 16 because of the fact that we get +1. So let's go with 16 there. Just getting +1 from the Variant Human. Let's go with the next highest is a 15. So if we put that into Constitute... Oh, no, sorry. The next highest is a 13. Sorry, a 14. So if we get... If we put the 13 into Constitution, then it will get a +1 to 14, which will give us then a +2 proficiency, I think. So if we do that, so we're going to put the 13... We're going to put the 13 in Constitution because it's getting a buff from the Variant Human, which will actually give it, which will actually make it 14. Sorry, I've screwed that up already. So yeah, this is a 14. 14. I could probably use a permanent marker for this because it's a one-shot. Obviously, we can change it later if we ever decide to do a campaign. So that's that. The next one is a 14. So this 14 could go into Intelligence, because obviously he's quite intelligent. So that 14 can go there. That's just a standard 14, no buff. Next highest, we have a 12. The 12 could go into Strength. Maybe he's quite strong because he chops wood all day and makes things. So let's go with a Strength 12. Let's go with Dexterity being 11. And Wisdom being 11. So those are the stats there. So 12 Strength, 11 Dex, 14 Constitution, which is normally a 13, but because of the racial Variant Human, we got a +1. 14 Intelligence, 11 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma, which would have been 15, but because of the +1 from the Variant Human. So that's the stats as they stand at the moment. Lovely old job. So if we look at the proficiency skill bonuses, I think it goes 11 to what's it do? 11, is it 11 to 12? No, sorry, 10 to 12. You get +1, 12 to 14, +2, 14 to 16, +3, +4, +5. Does it work like that? Proficiency bonuses. Let me just Google it very quickly. Proficiency bonus 5e. I think the proficiency bonus will actually be... Oh no, the proficiency bonus is determined by your level, which will be +3 because we're level 5. So if we just put that in there at the moment, proficiency bonus will be +3 because we're going to be level 5. So if we just fill that out now, and then we get the these stats will also give you a plus as well, won't they? I can't remember what it is though. Can't remember what it is. Do that in a second. So yeah, Constitution modifier. What's that then? the modifier. That's what happens. It needs to generate his health. So how do we do the modifiers? Modifier table 5e. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, so it was well, 10 to 11 is plus nothing. So this is nothing. Dexterity is 0. Wisdom is 0. 12 to 13 is plus 1, so strength gets plus 1. 14 to 15 gets plus 2, so we get a plus 2 constitution. And 16 is a plus 3 on the charisma, which is quite good. Lovely. So that's intelligence is 14, so that gets a plus 2 as well. Cool. So strength is plus 1, dexterity 0, constitution plus 2, intelligence plus 2, wisdom plus 0, and then charisma plus 3. So that's quite cool. Nice. I'm glad I figured that out on my own. Stat minus 10 divided by 2. Oh, okay. Nice. Cool. That's all been done. Oh, lovely old job. So then we get hit points are 1d8 or 5 plus your constitution modifier per warlock level after the first. So we're going to determine our hit points at level 5 here. We got a d8 as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll that, 5 times because we're level 5, and then add on the bonus each time for each level. So we get a at 4th level we do get an ability score improvement. So if we buff our constitution to 15, we do get it still remain the same, so that won't work. So at level 5 we'll get plus 2 constitution, so that would mean we'll have 10 health, right? Plus 5 die rolls, is that correct? So if we're doing our health, we do 10 plus 5 die rolls. Is that correct? Could you correct me on that before I do that? But proficiencies, we get light armor proficiency, so we're just going to write this in here. So Smith's Tools, light armor, simple weapons, saving throws are wisdom and charisma, so we'll just colour those in, wisdom and charisma. And then we get the skills. We choose 2 from Arcana or Arcana. Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. So we have 2 of these. So we want Arcana, 100%. We want Arcana. And then we want Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. So maybe we want Nature, because obviously we've lived in a village and all that sort of thing. So let's go with Nature. Pure on a whim here. You start with a certain amount plus your constitution modifier, then you roll 4 times, adding your con each level. You can either roll per level or take the average, but if you roll, you have to keep any bad rolls. No, yeah, 100%. That's what I'm going to do. So obviously, the chat is a little bit behind, so I'm just going to roll each dice, and hopefully the chat will respond here as to what I'm doing correctly. So let's roll the dice and see what happens. So the first level is 1d8. The hit points at first level is 8 plus your constitution modifier, which is 10, correct? So I get my constitution is plus 2. Yeah, so my hit points at first level is 10. So where's hit points? There, 10. So 10 hit points. First of all, you can't see that at all because of the well, you might be able to, but yeah, 10 at first level. And then we get 1d8 or 5 plus your constitution modifier per warlock level after the first. So you're saying, DeadSummer, you can start with a certain amount plus your constitution modifier, then you'd roll a 4, then you roll 4 times, adding your constitution for each level. So let's roll the first dice then. And this is going to get plus 2 because of the constitution modifier. 4 plus 2 is 6, so that will put us on to 16. Let's just so 16. Level 3, let's roll a dice. 1 plus 2 is 3, so that puts us on 19 at level 3. Level 4 is 1. Oh my goodness me. 1 plus 2 is 21 life here. And then level 5 is a 1. Are you joking? I've got 3 1s. That's ridiculous, isn't it? Should we just cut that part out? Should we just cut that part out, or should we just bowl with 23 life at level 5? 23 life at level 5? Should we do that? That is ridiculous, isn't it? I've got a few 1s there, DeadSummerArt. I've got a few 1s. The chat's slightly behind, obviously, as it is. And this is why I don't like rolling. Yeah, so I'm currently on 23 life as a level 5. So I'm a glass cannon, basically. Do I want to do that again? Shall I? I'll let you re-roll 1s. Okay. Okay, let's just do that again, shall we? We'll get one takesy backsy. We'll get one takesy backsy. So let's re-roll again. Ones of HP is kind of rough. Yeah, okay. Let's do that one more time. One more time. So first of all, we get 10 because of our thing. Then let's roll those dice again, shall we? Only the people who are watching the stream today will know that Azra re-rolled his HP dice because it was so poor this first time round. So let's try again. Second level, so I'm at 10 HP. Second level, let's go over re-roll of 8. There we go. 8 plus 2. That's a 10. That's basically better than my entire last go. Let's go with that then. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So we're on 20 life at level 2. Okay, level 3, we are on... Oh, of course it is. A 1 plus 2. So I'm already at the same total as before at 23 life with the 1. Come on. What is going on with the 1s, man? What is going on with the 1s? So that's level 3. Let's go with level 4. A 2. I'm on 27. Oh, man. Right, last roll for level 5. Level 5, come on, baby. A 4 plus 2 is 6. So we're on 33 life. 33 life at level 5. That still seems a bit shit, though, doesn't it? But we'll go with it. We'll go with it for now. 33 life. Let's go. 33 life as the current hit points at level 5. Wow. Okay. So still rolled some awful rolls there. But yeah, 33 life is better than 23 life, isn't it? Let's be honest. So I think it's always a bit funner doing rolls on these sort of games. But we'll see. Be easy on me, Mr. Dungeon Master. So yeah, that's our health at level 5. Is 33. So I guess we can write that in permanent marker as our hit point maximum. So let's just do that there. Hit point maximum is 33, and I am at 33 in pencil. I'll rubber this out. That's not the greatest, but it's manageable for sure. Yeah, that will do. That will do. Cool. I think there are also some abilities that I can get when I go into my Hexblade class that allow me to gain life back when I kill things. So I think that's also quite thematic with the blade and the stealing of souls and what have you. So we're going to get into that in a minute. Yeah, we've got all of that. Equipment, you start with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background. So you get a light crossbow, 20 bolts, or any simple weapon. So here, we're not going to have a crossbow. We're just going to have any simple weapon. We're going to have the axe that he was using to chop the wood down with. So we're going to have a one-handed axe as a simple weapon. I think I can have that. I cannot remember where the weapons are in this book. You'll probably be able to find it quicker than I can. But I believe there is some sort of one-handed axe that I can use as a weapon. Oh, here we go. Simple weapons: club, dagger, hand axe. There we go. Let's use that. Let's just have a hand axe there. Hand axe. So obviously that was the axe that he used to decimate all of the bandits that attacked his town. He still has that as a memento, as a reminder of the reason why he is pledging himself to blasphemate from the Shadow Realm. So yeah, we also get a component pouch and an arcane or an arcane focus. We probably will have an arcane focus, but I don't think it really matters in this campaign. I think an arcane focus is like some sort of trinket that allows you to focus your magic through it or something like that. Yeah, and you're saying if you prefer to take gold instead of the starting equipment, you can do so, and you can buy whatever it is that you like. You get the sword, my sword, of free, of course. Yeah, definitely. So let's just say that the leather armor, any simple weapon, 2 daggers, scholar's pack, and dungeoneer's pack. Probably not going to have any of this. I'm probably not going to bother having any of this. So what gold can I take instead of this then, Kale? DeadSummerArt. What can I take? I've already got 15 gold from my background. So what am I going to take? What gold can I take instead of having these things here? Because I'm not going to use any of these things. Obviously, the hand axe is just a bit of flavour because he's still carrying the hand axe that he used to slaughter all of those bandits. But everything else, Smith's tools and Traveller's clothes. Obviously, he's taking some tools with him, or he had some tools on him when he left that day, maybe. But yeah, I don't need anything else. So what gold can I have for that? I'll just scrap the rest of it. Cool. It says here as well, at first level, we choose a Otherworldly Patron. Now, the Otherworldly Patron we're probably going to use is the Hex Blade, which is in this little printout here, which we'll get to in a second. Warlocks get 4d4 times 10 in addition to the background gold. So let's roll 4 d4s then, shall we? Times 10. Let's see how rich Azra was. So let's roll 4 of these d4s, see how much gold we get. We get a... What's that? What kind of d4 is that? Oh, yeah, the number is on the bottom. So we get 1. So we get 1. We also get 1. We also get 3, so that's 5. And then we get 1, so we get 6. So 60 gold. So we've got 75 gold. 75 gold in total. There we are. 75 gold in total. Lovely, thank you. Cool, so that's that. So yeah, the equipment's been done. All the proficiencies and that have been done. Proficiency bonus. That's going to be 3, isn't it? So wisdom will be +3. Charisma will be +3. That's been done from the variant human, so I can rub that out before it confuses me. It's a number on the bottom of the dice. Yeah, I figured that out now. I was like, what's going on here? Decent starting amount, 75. Yeah, 75 gold. Lovely old job. So yeah, that's that. Proficiency here is, so proficiency Arcana is +3. Insight is +3. Actually, no, it's not. It's wisdom. Right, yeah, of course. Never mind. Chatting garbage already. So Arcana is intelligence. That's a +2. Insight is wisdom, so that's nothing, unfortunately. Nature is intelligence. That's also +2. Persuasion is charisma, which is +3. And then survival is wisdom, which is also 0. So I chose some pretty garbage proficiencies to have because of the... So if you are proficient in saving throws and skills, you also add the proficiency bonus to it as well as your stat bonus. Ah, I see. Right, that makes more sense then, doesn't it? Okay, cool. So this insight then would in fact be +3 instead. So Insight is +3. And then Wisdom Survival is also +3 as well because of the proficiency bonus. And then if you are proficient in saving throws and skills, you also add the proficiency to it as well as your stat bonus. Okay, so Wisdom will be +3 and Charisma will be +6 saving throw. Right, okay, that makes sense. So I should have put something in Wisdom really, shouldn't I? But never mind. So Charisma is +6 saving throw. Cool. Nice. Okay, cool. So that's that. That's pretty much all of those things fluffed out there. And it says here, your arcane research and the magic bestowed on you by your patron have given you facility with spells. See Chapter 10 for the general rules of spellcasting and Chapter 11 for the Warlock spell list. So let's go to Chapter 11 for the Warlock spell list. So we get 2 spells known at this stage. But if we just go straight to 5, we know 6 spells, but can only have 2 slots. Is that right? And it says here slot level as well, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So at 5th level, I can have what? 3rd level spells. Is that what that means? I haven't created like a spellcaster before, so that's really, really alien to me. I'll tell you what. For this next part, now that I've fluffed out the obviously the stats, the hit points, obviously all of the equipment and stuff that he has, proficiencies and all that sort of thing, should we just? Oh, you're messaging me on thingy. Right, let's do this then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to try and get the Dungeon Master onto the chat as well to chat with the stream and help me through this next bit. So let's just do that, shall we? 1 second. Hello, can you hear me? Look. Nah, it's fine, mate. Yeah, it's all good. I just need to make sure you're coming through on the desktop audio for the stream thing. So
no worries. Yeah, spells get a little bit complex.
That's right. I've never created a spellcaster either, so I was just like, right, I'm gonna need some assistance here. So luckily you were watching in the first place. Otherwise I'd be like, what the f do I do now? So yeah, if anybody in the chat can confirm the audio is all coming through okay for me and Kale, that'll be fantastic. And then we're just gonna go back to the main.
Yeah, I think I can hear myself.
Oh, you can. That's all right then.
I just flicked on the audio.
Lovely. Cool. So let's go back down to this then. Right. So yeah, basically I've filled out all of the stuff so far as you've been following along. So it says so it says here that obviously you get packed magic.
Yep.
So what do I get here then? Because obviously I'm level 5. I've done my level 5 hit points and what have you. So what do I get at this stage then? What do I get access to?
Okay, so let me bring up the Warlock section here so I can read through it. So essentially, with Warlocks, they work a little bit different to normal spellcasters. So you're going to have spell slots, which think of it as like charges. So every time you cast a spell, it uses a spell slot.
Yeah.
Normally for normal spellcasters, they will have like a 1st level spell slot, 2nd level spell slot, and then if they want to cast a stronger spell, they'll have to use a higher spell slot.
Yeah.
For Warlocks, all of your spell slots are the same level, and that level is dictated by your overall class level. So at 5th level,
Yeah.
every single spell you cast, regardless of its level, will become 3rd level.
Yeah.
And you can basically know spells that are up to 3rd level in power.
I see. Okay. Nice.
So you'll have a repertoire of like at level 5, it's 6 spells and 3 cantrips. So every time you go to cast a spell, you can then use a spell slot and then cast it. So if you want to cast the same spell like 3 times, you can do that, or if you want to cast a different spell for each. So.
Okay, nice. So is it worth starting with the cantrips that I might know first then, and then going on to the spells, or?
Cantrips are normally pretty important for Warlocks, just because they get so little spell slots. They get them back on a short rest instead of a long rest, but depends on the party how many times you want a short rest. So
Yeah.
picking good cantrips is important. Pretty much the one every Warlock takes is Eldritch Blast, because it's just so good.
Yeah,
it's amazingly good.
and I think
so that's one I'd recommend.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be quite thematic. I know you have also shared with me a Roon Chant based or a Roon Chant based cantrip, haven't you, recently?
Yes.
So I'm going to try and flash this up on the screen now. But is this one that who made this one then? This Roon Chant one?
So this was Collision Point.
Oh yeah.
He's recently been dropping some stuff to me on Twitter. Some
Lovely.
custom stuff that he's made for Flesh and Blood already. So I had a look through the Roon Chant one, and it seems pretty simple, but you can kind of stack it up multiple times and then release it on one hit, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because every turn you get an action and a bonus action. So, on your turn, you can do something as an action, and then as a bonus action, you can cast a Roon Chant, and then eventually when you go to actually attack, then they all sort of break. So it's a good way to use your bonus action on a turn when you're not doing anything else with it. So.
Oh, okay. Nice. So I can flash this up now then for everybody. This is the Roon Chant thing. So just going to read this out then, just so I can get a grasp of it. So yeah, casting time is 1 bonus action. So as you said there, you get an action and a bonus action, right, normally?
Yep, that's correct.
This says components is what? V and S. Was that visual and something else? Was it? Or something?
Verbal and somatic.
Oh,
so
verbal.
that means you'll have to say something, and you'll have to do some sort of hand gesture or whatever it is you want.
Okay.
So that means if your hands are tied or something, you can't cast it.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
and then it lasts a
silenced
minute.
or something for whatever reason.
Yes,
Yeah,
silence will also stop it. So.
Okay, nice. So yeah, shout out to Collision Point who made this. It says you weave magic of purple and violet to create a 3-foot diameter luminescent rune of a width thinner than your finger. Whenever you attack with a weapon, your runes, depending on what you've conjured, explode around the target, forcing them to take 1 point of necrotic damage for every rune chant you've created, and apply this damage whether or not you hit the target. After 1 minute, all of your rune chants fizzle out of existence. That's quite good. That's quite cool. Nice little bit of flavour. Also, obviously, with the weapon, obviously, I'm going to spoil this in a moment because it hasn't been discussed yet. I've also, if that's okay, I've changed the force damage to necrotic damage. I'm not sure if
that's perfectly fine.
Makes a difference because it's like a soul weapon, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah. So I had it set to force damage. Force damage is one of those damage types that it's kind of hard to. It's not straightforward as to what exactly force damage is per se.
Yeah.
It's always been sort of like a weird damage type that almost nothing in the game is resistant to. There's only like 1 or 2 creatures that is actually resistant or immune to force damage, so it always gets around resistances. So I always thought of it as more of like a kind of a soul, like the essence that makes up a being can be disrupted by force. So it's almost like an atomic level type thing. But if you want it to be necrotic, that's perfectly fine. It's not going to really change anything. So
no, it's just extra damage, really, isn't it?
Yeah, necrotic is just it's more of like an actual life, soul sucking type damage type, like a decay of life. Whereas force is more like molecular level type stuff. I've always imagined it as. It's up to interpretation, but yeah, you can definitely have it as necrotic. That's fine.
Nice. And obviously this says number of view chants you create with this spell increases by 1 when you reach 4th level, 12th level. So this will create 2 rune chants at my current level then.
Yep, that's correct.
All right. So if we just write this down as a cantrip on the sheet here, so this is Roon Chant. And obviously, I probably will take Eldritch Blast at this point, wouldn't I? Because that's probably the best one to use. Another one that's ranged, basically a ranged attack, isn't it? Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, it's very good at 5th level. As Andrew said in the chat, you actually get 2 blasts with 1 casting of Eldritch Blast. It does force damage, which obviously gets around a lot of resistances. You can also augment it and make it better with some other Eldritch invocations that you can take, which we'll get to at another point. It's just all around very versatile spell. If you have nothing else to do, Eldritch Blast is kind of the way to go.
Sweet. And then obviously with the Eldritch Blast at level 5 as well, I think I remember reading it somewhere that you get 2 beams which can hit 2 different targets as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so you can split the beams to hit different targets or the same target if you wish.
And if you conjure 2 beams into 1 target, it's basically 2 lots of damage, though. Is that correct? Yeah. All right. Yeah.
You do have to roll for each beam itself. But yeah, that also means that you have more chances to roll a natural 20, which will then increase the damage a lot.
Right.
So
nice, lovely. And then I get one more. Cantrip here as well. So it does suggest for you to choose Chill Touch, or that's first level though. So and Witch Bolt. So where can I find the cantrips in here then?
So normally the spells in your player's handbook will be towards the back, but there are extra books that have more spells.
Oh yeah.
So normally what I do is I have a look at. I'll give you a list here, a link, and it basically just has a bunch of spells that you can take based on what you're playing.
There's a couple of because we haven't even got into the class yet, but I'm going to be a Hex Blade, which is obviously in the Xanathar's Guide. It says here the expanded spell list. There's quite a few expanded spell lists which I could use.
Yep.
From that.
So I believe with the expanded spell list, no matter what, you will always have access to them, and they don't count towards any of the spells that you're choosing right now. So these will be in addition to what you've got.
Okay.
So. All right, so I'll send you a list right now.
Yep.
And this basically grabs the spells from pretty much every book that's out. So it's just a nice way to get everything all together.
Oh, wow. It's quite a lot, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of spells. So you'll only be looking at cantrips all the way up to 3rd level. So
oh wow, there's lots of
if it has in brackets UA, I might need to look over the spell because that is from something called Unearthed Arcana, which is kind of like beta testing material.
Yeah.
So it's not fully official, but it's an option. So if you're interested in one of those, I'll just look at it and make sure it's balanced.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like a sort of homebrew style one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically where Wizards of the Coast will release stuff that they're thinking about officially releasing for playtesting, and then they get feedback from playtesters, and if it's broken, they get rid of it or they tweak it. So
okay, that's fine. Cool. Right, I think I found one that looks pretty cool. This is a conjuration cantrip called Sword Burst.
Sword Burst.
Yeah, so it says you create a momentary circle of spectral blades that sweep around you, so like Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath style, and all other creatures within 5 feet of you must succeed on a Dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 force damage. It's like an AOE sort of thing.
I like that.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool. So obviously the sword that I have as well, it's like you've got souls trapped inside of it, and it could even work with expending. Obviously, I won't get to this, but you could release some charges and do extra damage. Maybe I don't know, but I think it's quite flavourful with regards to the spectral blades. It's very sort of Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath style, which is what I'm immediately thinking of.
So with your sword, I'm trying not to spoil it before you do. I'll let you spoil that. But I believe I've had it so it's only if the sword itself hits that you could then do the thing with it.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
because this itself is a cantrip, it would be separate
Okay.
from that. So yeah.
No, that's fine then. Well, this is a cantrip anyway. So cantrips you can use as many times as you like, or is it you use them once and then you have to short rest before you use them again?
So cantrips you can use as many times as you want. There's no limit to the amount of times you can cast it. The only limitation is taking the time to actually cast it. So you could, for an entire day, just keep casting a cantrip every 6 seconds because an action is about 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So you could cast like this spell 100 times in a day if you really want.
Nice.
So yeah, no limitations on that.
Cool. All right, so I'm just going to pick that one then for now. If I just do this one, so this is, so yeah, when you reach level 5, it's 2d6 worth of damage to all other creatures within 5 feet of you.
Yeah. If they fail a saving throw, they'll take the damage, but if they succeed, they take none.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So let's go with that then. So sword burst.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that existed.
Yeah. The source is Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which I think is a new book, very very recent.
Fairly new. I do have that, but I actually haven't sat down and fully read through it. I've only picked at a few things. So
yeah, so quite a new one. So that's that. So yeah, I got three cantrips that I know, so I can cast those at any time, and then we've got 6 spells known and 2 spell slots. So I can only. So what does this mean then? So I can have 2 spells. I can have 6 spells known, but 2 spells active. Or when can I change those? Then.
So essentially, you will know of 6 spells, but in between each of your rests, you'll only be able to cast 2, any 2, or any combination of the 2 of the ones that you know twice.
Okay.
So you could cast like counter spell twice, and then you'll have no more spell slots. So warlocks have a lot less spell slots than normal casters, but they get them back a lot easier. So that's the kind of balancing act for it. So normally for warlocks, especially Hexblade, because your damage will mostly come from actual melee hits, you'll probably want to have your spells be utility. Since you'll have so little of them, you don't want to be using your spells for damage when you could just hit them with a sword. So
yeah, exactly. Right, I'm just gonna have a look as to see which ones I would want for this then, because if I'm going to be in melee combat most of the time, I'm just trying to think of what sort of spells would be able to sort of attune to that.
So on the link I sent you, now there's going to be a lot of spells here, but you can essentially pick a total of 6 spells, and they can be level 1, 2, or 3. You can have any combination, so you could have 5 level 1 and a level 3 if you wanted, or all 6 could be level 3. The cool thing with spell slots and the way they work is if you want to cast, say, a level 1 spell, and you cast it using a higher level spell slot, not all spells, but a lot of spells will actually have extra benefits or more damage if they're cast at a higher level. So because you as a warlock, all your spell slots are already at the highest level, and you don't have like first, second, or third, you just have third. That means if you cast the first level spell, it's going to be more powerful than a normal spell that someone casts. So
I see.
Hopefully that made sense. It's probably a little bit weird. Describing spell slots is a bit hard. I think Andrew made a good point. He basically says your big spell gun has 2 shots, and you load whatever ammo you want.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm just thinking of. I'm just looking through these now. Is there any? There's no sort of special spells that I get because I'm a warlock. They just gain access to everything, don't they?
So you'll have access to the warlock spell list plus whatever your extended spell list is for being a Hexblade.
Okay.
But you get those on top of the 6 spells that we're about to pick, so
I see.
you don't have to worry about picking those.
Right. Okay. Cool. Right, so let's have a look at these then.
So depending on what you're wanting to go for, I could always chuck out some recommendations for you to look at specifically.
Yeah, definitely chuck out some
Because
stuff.
picking spells is it takes a long time if you aren't familiar with a lot of them. So let's have a look here.
Would it be worth looking, because I've got the cantrips? Would it be worth now adding my other Hexblade stuff in? Because I haven't even gone through the class yet on there. Would it be worth doing that?
Yeah, so it's probably a good idea just to add in the stuff that you get for being a Hexblade.
Yeah.
Because you won't have to pick that. That just comes for free.
All right, let's do that first then. So we'll skip the spell slots for now. So spellcasting ability. Let's just write this in here. So that is charisma.
Yep, that's correct.
And then spell save DC is 8 plus proficiency bonus and charisma modifier, which is 6. So it'll be 8 plus 6.
Yep, so it'll be 14. So if you cast the spell, that requires the person that you target to try and resist it. They will have to make some sort of saving throw, and they have to get 14 or higher to resist it.
Okay.
So.
Cool. And the spell attack modifier is your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier, which again is 6. So that's plus 6 on the spell attack modifier, yeah?
Yep, so anytime you cast a spell that requires you to make an attack roll, you add plus 6. So Eldritch Blast, for example, you roll a d20 plus 6, and then if that is the same or higher than the armor class of whatever you're attacking, then it will hit.
Okay,
so.
Lovely. Cool, so that's that. Now it says Otherworldly Patron, which will be the Hexblade from the expansion set, which is Xanathar's Guide. For anybody there who wants to know, you can find it there. But I've just printed it out because I don't actually have the book at the moment, so I just printed out the pages for this. So first of all, at first level, you acquire the training necessary to effectively arm yourself. That's Hexblade Warrior. Let me just do Hexblade's Curse first of all. So starting at first level, you gain the ability to place a baleful curse on someone. As a bonus action, you choose one creature you can see within 30 feet, and the target is cursed for 1 minute. The curse ends early if you die, or the target dies, or if you are incapacitated. And then while it's the person is cursed, you gain a bonus to damage rolls against the cursed target. The bonus equals your proficiency bonus. So if I hit someone while they're cursed, it will do +3 damage. Is that right?
Yes, let me double check the Xanathar's Guide thing, but yeah, it basically adds extra benefits to whatever you hit. Where are we?
So it just says you gain a bonus to damage rolls against a cursed target. The bonus equals your proficiency bonus.
Yep. So you'll get a +3 on any damage that you do. And if you roll a 19 or a 20, it counts as a critical hit. Normally it's only a 20 that counts as a crit, but this makes it so it's a 19.
Cool, nice.
As well. So.
And then
if it dies, you also get health back.
Cool. So that's on flavour with the blade.
Yep.
Which drinks souls basically. So yeah, that's nice and flavourful. So I'm glad that I researched it a bit further, because this is basically perfect for what my Warlock wants to do. Basically, the Hex Blade.
Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously the Hex Warrior. Obviously, what I was reading just now, you obviously acquire the training necessary to effectively arm yourself, and you gain proficiency with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. So it just allows you to use better things in combat.
Yeah, because this is a more combat-focused Warlock subclass, which normally Warlocks aren't in the thick of it, but this one does, so they just give you some extra proficiency so you can wear better armor and whatnot.
Yep, definitely. And it says here, when you attack with that weapon, which will obviously be the sword that you've created for me, which we'll show in a minute, you can add your charisma modifier instead of your strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls.
Yep. So normally whenever you attack with like a sword, you'll have to use your strength plus your proficiency whenever you want to add something to your hit. So if you roll a d20, normally you would add to it your strength plus your proficiency, but with the Hexblade, because you're using charisma, it will be charisma plus proficiency instead. So
nice. Cool. So I'm just going to write those down in features and traits quickly. So Hexblade Curse and Hex Warrior, just so I can follow along what's going on, what I get here. So Hex Blade Curse, and then Hex Warrior, which allows me to roll with Charisma instead.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Then we get Eldritch Invocations at second level.
Yep.
So what do they do? Eldritch Invocations.
So you can think of these as feats, but only warlocks have access to them.
Yeah.
And they are normally a lot more specific. So there are feats, or Eldritch Invocations in the Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and I think maybe also Tasha's.
Oh yeah, I can see them in the handbook now. Yeah.
And they will just give you extra things. So you could choose ones that make it so your Eldritch Blast has a longer range or does more damage. Stuff that allows you to read all writing. Some really cool stuff that only warlocks get access to. So.
Okay, I'm just looking at it now. Agonizing Blast sounds quite nice. It says whenever you cast an Eldritch Blast, you add your Charisma modifier to damage if it deals on a hit. So maybe it might be worth just picking that one.
That could be good if you think you're going to be relying on your Eldritch Blast for damage. It just makes it do more damage, which is pretty nice.
Armor of Shadows, you can cast Mage Armor on yourself without expanding a spell slot or material components.
Mm-hmm.
What does Mage Armor do?
So I think you probably won't use it.
No.
Basically, it's a spell that says if you're not wearing armor, then you can cast it on yourself, and it gives you extra protection. So your armor class increases by, I think it just becomes 13 plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay.
So it basically gives someone who can't normally wear armor extra protection. So for example, one of my D&D characters who's a wizard, she doesn't wear any armor because she's not proficient with any armor.
Yeah.
So if she wants to have a chance at living, she'll basically just cast mage armor, and that makes it so she actually has a bit of protection.
All right.
So
that makes sense.
yeah, normally her armor class is pretty bad. She has a 10 by default, which is god awful.
Yeah.
But the mage armor brings it up to 13, which is semi-passable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, for spellcasts,
So,
I guess. Yeah.
But since you get given proficiencies for armor because of Hexblade, it's probably something you won't use too much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. I found one I'm definitely going to use. That's called Thirsting Blade, which is basically like the equivalent for the warriors and other characters that want to attack multiple times. This just says you can attack with your packed weapon twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Is there a requirement for that? It should say a prerequisite. Let me have a look.
Prereq is 5th level and the Pact of the Blade feature, which I'm going to choose later anyway. The Pact of the Blade.
Awesome. Yeah, that works perfectly. There you go.
So we'll use that then. So Thirsting Blade is one of them. So Thirsting. Thirsting Blade, and then I need one more. I think I get two. Is it? Do I get two or do I get more? Oh, I get more. I get 3 actually at 5th level.
Yeah, 3. Yep.
So Thirsting Blade, Wand of the Shadows. What's that? When you are in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to become invisible. It's quite good.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. But we're going to have a rogue in the party, a red zone rogue. So
yes.
So I'll leave that to him to do that sort of thing. Fiendish Vigor. You can cast False Life on yourself at will as a 1st level without expanding a spell slot. What on earth does that do? False Life.
I believe that gives you 1d4 temporary hit points. Let's have a look. False Life. It's normally a spell I don't see used too often, but it might be decent. False Life. Here we are. So it lasts for an hour. You gain 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points for the duration. So they go above your normal hit point maximum, and if you take any damage, you take it from your temporary first.
Do you know what? I think I'm just gonna choose that for flavour purposes, like because
It's not too
obviously
bad, actually.
the sword, if I choose to not banish the souls that were inside it, I do lose life, which obviously we'll get to in a moment. So I'm going to use that to potentially counteract that downside by gaining life.
Yeah, to try and counteract it a bit.
Yeah, to try and gain life elsewhere. So obviously we can revisit that in a moment. So I'm going to get that, which is called Fiendish Vigor. So Fiendish Vigor. Cool, and then we can have one more. So I'm just looking for other sort of combat-based ones. I'm not sure if you can find any or know of any, but I'm just looking for more combat-based ones.
This is for your invocations still?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are many other combat-based ones.
Let's have a look. Omen.
My Other Mind, you can cast slow once using a Warlock spell slot. You can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So, well, slow isn't what
It basically gives you the slow spell, which is pretty good spell, but it will take your action and a spell slot from you.
Yeah. Repelling Blast. That's something that pushes people back with the Eldritch Blast. You've got obviously Eldritch Spear, which increases its range. You've got Agonizing Blast, which adds Charisma, so I could maybe buff the ranged attacks that I have, potentially. Bestow Curse. That's another spell I can have. Sign of Ill Omen. Bane. So just
Bane's quite nice.
Yeah, just more spells I can grab from an invocation, which is quite good.
It's more of a utility one, but it's quite cool. Devil's Sight. So it allows you to see normally in darkness, both magical and magical and non-magical, to a distance of 120 feet, which, as a human, you don't have any dark vision at all, so that is pretty good.
Yeah, maybe I should choose something like that then, just some sort of... just in case there is some sort of weird vision obscuring things that might need an extra pair of eyes.
Yeah.
let's do that then. Let's do Devil's Sight. Let's do that. Blasphemy allows Azra to see things he would not necessarily want to see. Cool.
So yeah, it won't let you see invisible things or anything like that, but it'll let you see through magical darkness, which might or might not appear. It's up for debate whether or not that will happen. So
yeah. Well, I mean, again, this is the thing that we're doing is going to be for now is going to be obviously a one shot that obviously results in other things, which will spawn closer to the time. But yeah, we could do more of it depending on everybody else, I guess, couldn't we?
Definitely. I actually just saw a comment from Andrew here. He might be right. The invocation spells normally don't take one of the 2 shots you get per short rest. So it would be an addition, but I'm not sure if that would change anything for you.
No, probably not. We'll keep it as it is for now. Cool, we'll keep it as it is for now. So that's the invocations. So we got 3 of those for our level. Then we get obviously at 3rd level, we get a Pact Boon, which will be the Pact of the Blade, which is obviously a good one to have in this scenario.
Yes,
so
definitely.
It says if you don't normally if you're not normally a Hex Blade or what have you, it says you can use your action to create a packed weapon in your empty hand, and you can choose the form of that weapon each time you create it, and obviously you are proficient with it while you wield it. The weapon counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage.
Yep.
You can transform one magic weapon into your packed weapon by performing a special ritual. That doesn't really matter because I'm already going to have one.
This is probably something that you would have had upon reaching 3rd level Warlock before this one-shot happens.
Yeah,
It's something you would have done already. So.
Yeah. Cool, so that's that. So I don't need to have anything else there because I've done we'll come back to the spells. I haven't decided what those are yet. so that's fine. So we don't have to worry about that. Obviously, that gives us access to the Thirsting Blade, which is fine. And at level 4, we get an ability score improvement. So we can improve something here. We're probably going to improve Wisdom from 11 to 12, just so we can get the buffs on the saving throw as well as the other stuff, because at the moment it's at 0.
So one important thing to note about ability score improvements, if you want to, instead of improving your ability score, you can choose to take a feat anytime you would get an ability score improvement. So you could theoretically at this level have 2 feats, but
Oh, I could, yeah. Yeah, so...
But that's up to you, so...
yeah. Let's have a look to see if I've missed anything here. There is a invocation, just looking at the Xanathar's guide, called Eldritch Smite, which I probably might want to have instead of the Devil Sight, potentially.
So it was called... So this was an invocation that you
Yeah, Eldritch Smite. So prerequisite is 5th level Pact of the Blade feature, so it makes sense for me to use it because it's another Pact of the Blade thing. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, you can expend a Warlock spell slot to deal an extra 1d8 force damage, plus another 1d8 per level of the spell slot.
Oh my god.
And you can knock the target prone if it's huge or smaller.
That's crazy.
That is
That's really good. Considering that knocking it prone with this effect doesn't require it to make a saving throw, it just happens, which makes it even stronger.
yeah.
Because if something is prone and you hit it with a melee attack within 5 feet, you get advantage on the attack, which is really good.
Oh boy.
So.
Yeah, so I think Devil Sight's going to have to go out the window here. Let's use that instead, because that's definitely it's a Hexblade. It's a Hexblade one. Obviously, it was included in Xanathar's guide, so obviously it makes sense to choose that one.
Yeah, obviously the downside being that you can no longer see in darkness, but
yeah,
you can use a torch. It's not too bad.
That's right. Yeah, we can get a torch out.
Yeah, or if you've got other spellcasters, I don't want to spoil too much of what other people are taking, but there will be other spellcasters that can cast light. So
that's true. Yeah. Andrew's on something there. Utility. Being a Warlock Paladin is also cool. Yeah, just imagine that, taking a class multi-classing on my first ever character creation.
That's pretty intense.
That's pretty intense.
The Eldritch Smite invocation is essentially what Paladins have innately. They can choose to expend spell slots whenever they hit something to deal extra damage. So Paladins are really good if you fish for crits. So if a Paladin crits, then they can choose to dump spell slots into it, and the extra damage they put into it also gets doubled along with the normal damage. So they can do a lot of damage in one hit.
Nice.
So many different ways you can go about it.
Lovely. So that's Eldritch Smite. Just looking at what else we get. We could choose a feat or improve our thing. So I'm just going to look at the feats again, just in case I want one. I haven't even chose my original one yet.
Yeah.
I haven't even chose the original feat yet. Bloody hell! Right.
There are some in Xanathar's as well, and I think Tasha's also has feats. There's a lot of places for feats.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find maybe a list.
God, there was another.
Yeah, and Andrew's pretty much correct in the chat. Paladins don't have spell slots; they have smite uses. Yeah, Paladins do have spell slots, but yeah, they use it for smite.
Yeah,
so,
makes sense.
If you're a paladin and you're casting spells normally, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so I'm still. We're still in. We still need to do the feat for the variant humans. That's what we're going to do now. We're going to choose one now. Now that we've got all the other stuff.
Yep.
Because nothing happens at level 5 at all. It's just the ability score improvement for level 4, which we could convert into a feat, plus the feat we haven't chosen yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna. you're going to send me another link for these feats.
Yes, I have sent you a link.
Oh, nice.
So there's quite a few, but thankfully this list actually gives you a quick description of what they all do.
Oh,
So
yeah.
a lot of the feats will actually also give you a stat improvement as well, which is really good because obviously to take a feat normally you have to give up a stat improvement, and the stat improvement allows you to add +1 to 2 different stats. But with these feats, you get an additional effect, and normally one skill gets increased by +1. So.
Okay, I think I've already found one that I want to use.
What one's that?
So this is Eldritch Adept. So basically, you get another Eldritch Invocation.
Devil's Sight, here we come.
I was looking through the other Xanathar's stuff, and I've actually seen another thing that's quite cool called Maddening Hex. So obviously you need to be 5th level. Obviously you need the Hex spell, which I've already got, the Hex Blade Curse.
Yep.
And it says, as a bonus action, you cause a psychic disturbance around the target cursed by your Hex spell or by a Warlock feature of yours, such as Hex Blades Curse or Sign of Ill Omen. So obviously I have that already. And it says, when you do so, you deal psychic damage equal to the cursed target and each creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of it. And then the psychic damage equals your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. And to use this invocation, you must be able to see the cursed target. So basically, whenever you hex something, it just deals damage to it.
That's pretty good. That's not too bad.
Yeah. So I think I might choose that, just so I can get my eyes targeted on something. But but by doing so, they're like, oh my god, he's targeting me with his arcane horribleness. I'm taking damage here, and the souls are screaming at the target and all this. Yeah, so I'm gonna choose that Maddening Hex, I think. So it's basically just an upgrade to the Hex Blade Curse.
Yep. So it would just add on to that effect essentially.
Yeah, so just add on to that. And that'll be.
So it's not a crazy amount of damage. I mean, at this stage it would only be 3 damage, but it's guaranteed damage, and it is AOE. So.
Oh yeah, of course it is, and obviously that works with the other thing I've chosen, the not thirsting blade, the other thing that creates the spell that does AOE damage as well.
So you could curse them, AOE, run up to them, and then use your action to do another AOE.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can see where it's going. So yeah, lots of damage from lots of different sources, like Runeblade should be.
Yep. Hybrid assault.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's that, and then obviously we need a feat from the variant human thing as well. So that ability score improvement was replaced by the Maddening Hex, and now we need something to go with the variant human thing. So I'm just thinking of what else we could use. What else I could use. Is there any like tips or hints as to what I could potentially take that might help in the one shot?
There is a feat. I'm trying to see if I can find it again. So, since you're going to be up close and personal, there are a few options that I could possibly recommend. So, there's a subclass of fighter called Battle Master, and they get these really cool things. I really like them. They're called battle tactics, which you'll have a pool of superiority die, and you can use a superiority die to use the battle tactics. And the battle tactics ranges from things like tripping attack, bait and switch. You can force your teammates to move on your turn to get them in a better position. Stuff like that. There's a feat that allows you to take, I think, maybe 2 battle tactics. It might be 1. There's obviously Warcaster as well, which gives you saving throws on concentration, because some spells require you to concentrate on it.
Yeah.
So if you ever take damage, you might lose concentration. And it allows you to cast spells as a opportunity attack. An opportunity attack is if someone is standing in your melee and they try to leave your melee, you can use your reaction to take a swing with your weapon. With Warcaster, you can cast a spell instead, although since you're melee based, you might not need that. What else we got?
Andrew's just chucking suggestions in there. Warcaster, Magic Initiate, Ritual Caster.
Meta Magic Adept is always cool. That allows you to manipulate your spells, so you can make them so that you can cast it silently, or you can split it in two, so you can twin spell, so you can target two things instead of one. Mage Slayer could be good against things that are casting magic.
Savage Attacker. Once per turn, when you roll a damage for a melee weapon, you may re-roll the weapon's damage dice and use either total. That sort of works because of the fact that I'm just in combat wanting to destroy things all the time.
That's not too bad.
Savage Attacker. And he is a savage attacker because obviously during his backstory he just murdered as many bandits as he could with a bloody hand axe that's used to chop wood. So I might just take that for flavour purposes. Savage Attacker. Potentially.
Sentinel, which is pretty good, which basically means if you take an opportunity attack against someone trying to leave combat with you, if you hit them, their speed goes to 0 for the rest of the turn, which means they can't move away from you. So if they go to leave and you hit them, they have to stay where they are, which is pretty nasty if someone's trying to run away.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a lot of different things you can take.
So let's just say I hit someone with a sword. You then roll damage on that sword, don't you? So I'm just thinking of how this Savage Attacker could work. That's all. Because I think I might just want to capitalise on damage dealt with weapons, and making sure I can hit quite hard and be able to re-roll dice on damage. I think is quite good.
Which isn't too bad because if we're statting it as a greatsword, it would be 2d6 damage plus your charisma modifier.
Yeah.
So that means if you roll 2d6, actually, how does it work with multiple dice?
It just says once per turn, when you roll damage for a melee weapon, you can re-roll the weapon's damage dice and use either total. So I guess it's the whole roll.
I would assume so. Yeah. Multiple dice. I'm going to double check that.
I mean, optimally, you'd probably choose something else, but I think I'm just going to go with that because it works with the backstory. So I'm just going to go Savage Attacker. I think.
Yeah, no worries.
Makes it easier. Cool. And then we're going to. So I think that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to go through all of the stuff that's written on here. Where's my OBS gone? So I can see. Yeah, I think people can see it generally. You can't really see the numbers and stuff because it's pencil. But so yeah, Azra, level 5 Warlock, human variant. Obviously, the human variant I chose to increase my Constitution and Charisma by 1 instead of having the human be everything, be +1. And obviously the feat that came with that was Savage Attacker because of the fact that he ran into battle against all these bandits and just murdered them with a hand axe. So I guess if we were to choose it then, like at the start of the character creation process, it makes total sense as to why we'd have Savage Attacker. So I think that works quite well. Obviously, his background is a guild artisan because obviously he is. You could have also chose hermit because obviously he was living in a village outside of the hustle and bustle of the main sort of cities and towns of Wraith. But obviously, I chose guild artisan because of the fact that maybe later on down the line or what have you, he might want to craft something for someone or knows someone that came to him before to forge a weapon or a piece of armor or something like that. So that's the reason I chose that. Alignment is still up in the air. I mean, he's a bit of a chaotic character, but has his own code. So wouldn't know what that is really. Armor class. What's that determined by? Obviously, his armor. But what do I have? What do I have? Do you think?
So depending on the armor that you get, so you do have 75 gold to spend. So if I go to the player's handbook, page, what page is this? Page 145 has a list of all the different armor types with their bonuses and how much armor class you get from it, how much they cost,
Oh yeah.
if they give you disadvantage on stealth, etc. Because you are proficient with light and medium, so you could get heavier stuff like half plate or a breastplate, or you could go for the cheaper stuff that's a bit lighter. Um, you don't have a good dexterity modifier to really capitalize on
No.
some of the lower tier armor, so you might be better off going for the higher tier. Only downside is some of it can cost quite a bit, and some of it gives you disadvantage on stealth. So if you try to hide, it might clank around.
Yeah. The rogues in the party is like, oh, for goodness sake, there he is, clunking around with his armor. Goodness sake, what's he doing? Giving us away. Cool. So I can't wear heavy armor, so I can wear medium. So I could just get chain or scale? No, not scale mail. Scale mail gives you 14.
Gives you 14 instead of 13, but you have disadvantage on stealth, whereas the chain shirt is just straight 13.
And that costs 50.
Mm.
So I'd go down to 25, which is fair enough. I guess I'll just disadvantage on stealth. I mean, yeah, I could give away the party, I guess, in some certain circumstances. Let's just go over.
That also implies that the rest of the party is also going to be stealthy, which I'm not sure if they're going to. So
no.
Stealth might not be as much of an option for the entire party.
I mean, there's going to be a rogue, but that rogue is obviously going to be being stealthy during battle and stuff, I imagine, and slipping away into darkness and jumping out at people and scaring them.
Yep. Plus, you don't always have to send the entire party to go ahead. You can always send the rogue off to go check things out.
Scout things out first. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, let's just do scale mail then. So that's armor class of 14.
Yep.
So that probably won't change anytime soon. So I'm just going to permanent marker this in here. So armor class of 14. How do you decide initiative?
So your initiative is essentially just your dexterity modifier, which in your case I think is just +0.
Yeah, so I don't get anything. Yep. Oh yeah, because you roll for initiative, then you get the plus, don't you, from the dex?
Yep, that's correct. And then that just determines the order in which you go during a battle. So can be good depending on what class you're playing. It's not as necessary for some classes, but some classes really want to go first. Like rogues, especially, they want to get the jump on someone. So so it won't be too important for your character, I'd reckon, anyway. But there are other things in the game that can increase your initiative, but for the most part, it's always just your dexterity bonus. So
okay, that's right then. Okay, yep. So that's that. Cool. So we've got all of those things. Obviously, the equipment that I start with are hand axe, smith's tools, and traveller's clothes. That doesn't really matter. The gold has been reduced now by 50 because I've added the chain. Was it scale mail? Scale mail, wasn't it?
Scale mail. Yep.
Yeah. So.
In terms of how it looks, you can flavor it however you want it to be. As long as it's scale mail in the appearance, then it doesn't matter if you want it to be whatever. So
that's fine. Cool. Obviously, I did because of the Hex Blade thingy. I do have proficiency in the medium and stuff, so I'll just write that in now.
Yep.
And then I need to choose my spells, and that's pretty much it, I think. And then I'll do the weapon as well. Reveal the weapon.
Yeah. That will pretty much be it, I think.
Pretty much
the rest of it will just be small tweaks here and there, and just making sure your character sheet's all 100% good. Yep. And you'll be set to go. So
lovely. Where is it? Hex Warrior. Gain proficiency of medium, shields, martial. Okay, so medium, shields, and martial. That's fine. Won't even need it anyway, because I'm just going to be using one weapon most of the time. Nice. Obviously, the cantrips have been decided, being Roon Chant, which is the one we saw earlier, Eldritch Blast, and Sword Burst, which is the 9th blade sort of style thing. And now we have 6 spells to choose from, and then that's pretty much it, apart from the weapon, which we'll go into in a moment afterwards.
Yep. So I did send you a short list of some stuff that could be good. I can run through each of them if you'd like a brief description as to what they do.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah.
All right. So most of these will be utility. So the first one I have is Misty Step, which is always good if you're in a pickle. Basically, as a bonus action, you can teleport up to 30 feet, which can be nice to close the gap if someone's just out of range of you. Or if you are surrounded and you're like, oh, I've bitten off more than I can chew, you just skedaddle out of there. So that's always a nice one. And it uses a bonus action as well. So if you do teleport into battle, you can then immediately attack.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Hold person. Basically, if it succeeds, whoever you target cannot move. They become... what's the word? It's not... Is it restrained?
I think it might be, yeah.
They basically can't move, and that means that pretty much everyone gets advantage on attacking them. Let me have a look at the correct thing. They become paralyzed. That's what it is.
Right.
So it lasts up to a minute as long as you're concentrating on it, but at the end of each of their turns, they can try and break free of it. And then... Yeah, if you cast it at third level or higher, which you will be because you're a warlock, you can target one additional humanoid for each slot above second. So you could, with your level, target 2 things and potentially stop them, which can be quite nice if you're going to be wailing on them. So,
well, yeah, I could obviously freeze them in place, then hex them to deal damage, and then teleport in there and just kill them all.
So hold person's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
What else do I have?
Cool.
Invisibility, very straightforward. You just turn invisible.
Yeah.
Not sure how much you'd want to use that, but can be good because it means if anyone tries to attack you, they have disadvantage. And if you're trying to stealth, you have advantage. So that would negate the downside to your armor, which means you would just make a straight roll if you're doing stealthing. And you can also cast it on other people. So if you want to turn someone else invisible, like a rogue, you can turn them invisible.
Like a certain unnamed rogue from the red zone.
Yeah. Yep. I've got Hex, which is the spell Hex. I'm not sure if you want to take that specific Hex since you've already got Hex Blades Curse.
Yeah, probably not.
Technically, you could stack it with your Hex Blades Curse.
Baby. Double stack.
They both take a bonus action to cast, though. Essentially, it just means anytime you hit the target, they take an extra 1d6 necrotic damage.
Maybe.
So, it can be good. You might want to just stick with Hexblade's Curse, but if you want to take Hex as well, it's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know.
We've also got Armor of Agathis, which essentially you create a layer of frost that covers your armor. And what that does, if I bring it up again, is anytime you get hit, the attacker takes cold damage. And I think, yes, it also gives you temporary hit points. 5 temporary hit points for the duration. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while you have these points, it takes 5 cold damage. And because you're casting it at a higher level as a warlock, you would gain 15 temporary hit points, and anything that hits you, anything that hits you would take 15 cold damage. So,
right, okay. I think that's a definite then.
It's pretty good
with what's coming up. So, but as a dungeon master, you could just reflavor that to Armor of Blasphemate, couldn't you? Instead,
yeah, essentially, you'd just be like, yes, Blasphemet's cold embrace covers your armor, and anyone that hits you, suddenly a black tendril comes out and swipes at them, and they take damage or something.
Sounds good. Yeah,
make it cool.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. So yeah, we'll add that in. So what level is that? Does it matter?
That is a It's a first level spell, but when you cast it, because you're a warlock, it would become 3rd level. But it's technically a first level spell, so it might be good to separate them.
Okay, so yeah, armor of, in this case, Blaz. Foment.
Armor of Blasmafit.
Yep. Cool.
Then you've also got Hellish Rebuke. So this is anytime you get hit as a reaction, which you get 1 per combat round, you can essentially deal damage back to whoever hit you. They make a dexterity saving throw, or they take 2d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful. And that increases by 1d10 for each level above first. So at your level, they would take 4d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful.
Cool, that's vile as well. Punishing people for attacking me back. That's not very nice, is it?
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Crown of Madness, which I thought was kind of flavorful.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Crown of Madness, essentially it's a spell that charms whoever you target, and they have a crown of jagged thorns that appear above their head, almost like a halo, and their eyes kind of start glowing. The charmed target must use its action before moving on each of its turns to make a melee attack against a creature other than itself that you choose. So you can turn things against each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that's a 2nd level spell. It doesn't get any benefit if you cast it at a higher level, but some cool mind control type stuff might be awesome. You've got good old counter spell, which is pretty straightforward. If somebody casts a spell and you don't like it, you can just stop it.
Okay.
Yeah. Depending on how high of a level the spell is that you try to cancel, you might have to roll to see if it cancels. But if it's 3rd level or lower, it just counters it. They can't do anything about it unless they try counter your counter spell.
Okay.
Which you can do. But
mono blue mages.
Yeah. But yeah, for example, if you come across like a wizard that's about to fireball all of you and you're all standing next to each other, counter spell, and it just stops them.
Cool.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I've got 3 summoning spells: summon lesser demons, summon shadow spawn, and summon undead. Essentially, they're what the box says. You can just summon some creatures to help you.
I think I need to have one of these in here. I think I need to have some. I think I need to have summon lesser demons in here. 100%.
Yeah. So you roll a d6, and depending on what you land on, you can either get 2 demons of a challenge rating of 1 or lower. So challenge rating is essentially difficulty when you verse them. So you can get 2 that are level 1 or lower, all the way up to getting 8 demons that are a quarter of a challenge rating.
Cool.
I choose the demons. So you could get mains, stretchers, and you would then choose the unoccupied spaces where they would be summoned.
Cool.
And then they're hostile to all creatures, including the party and yourself.
Fantastic.
But yeah, as part of casting the spell, you can form a circle on the ground with the blood used as a material. So there is a material component for this.
Yeah.
You need to have a vial of blood from a humanoid killed within the past 24 hours to do this spell. Which I'm sure you're probably going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. It would still wet the blade.
Yeah, you can essentially just create a circle, and the summoned demons cannot cross the circle or harm it, and they can't target anyone within it. So it's like a safe space.
Cool. I think that could be used obviously in combat as well as maybe creating some chaos in a social environment. So I reckon that would be
if you really want to.
I reckon that would be pretty good. So I'm definitely going to have that. So what level's that, or does it?
That is a 3rd level spell.
Okay. Cool.
So you will be able to cast it. It doesn't get any extra benefits until you get 6th or 7th level slots.
Yeah.
But yeah. You can have anywhere between 2 strong demons or 8 small demons or 4 in-between demons.
Nice.
So would be a very interesting spell to see if you do end up casting it.
Yeah.
Because Obviously, in the world of Wraith, demons aren't your typical demons that you'd think of from like the Bible or any other sort of mythological, setting. So they would be something relating to Blasmafet. Who knows what they are? I won't say anything, but
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I will definitely have something prepared. If you are taking the spell, I'll make sure that I'll have stuff ready to go.
Sounds good. Yeah, just we'll just make it up along with what lore already exists, and I'm sure you'll be the master at that. So that's not a problem.
Yep. So that'd be very interesting.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, definitely chosen those two. So we've got 4 left to choose from. I think Misty Step could be quite good to have. Just to sort of potentially just step into like a demonic realm and then appear somewhere else for a moment. So I think we will choose Misty Step as well. So what level is that? 1?
Yeah, that's I think it's level 1. Oh no, it's level 2 actually.
Okay.
Yes, level 2.
So we'll choose Misty Step there. Hellish Rebuke will probably have that as well, just to punish people that attack us.
Yep. So that's more of a spur of the moment thing, whereas Armor of Agathis is normally something that you'll prepare.
Yeah.
Because I think Armor of Agathis does disappear after you take. Oh no, it just lasts for an hour. Oh, it's only while you have the temporary hit points. So if you get hit for, say, 20 damage, that would get rid of all of your temporary hit points.
Yeah.
And they would take, at your level, 15 cold damage. But if they hit you and they only deal, say, 3 damage, they will still take 15 points of cold damage.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it can be quite nasty against smaller things that don't do as much damage, but they will still hit you because they will be taking the full brunt of the Armor of Agathis, regardless of how much temporary hit points you have left. So
cool, that's fine. So Hellish Rebuke will add in here, which is level 1, isn't it? I think.
I believe so. Yes, level 1.
Nice. Okay. Hellish Rebuke again, just going in with the convulsions of the bellish, the convulsions of the bellish, convulsions of the bellows of Hellish Rebuke.
Yep.
Lovely, and then we've got 2 left. So obviously these are the ones you've suggested anyway. So I'm probably just going to go with these ones, to be honest. So I think we have to chuck maybe a counter spell in there just to maybe prevent some horrible spell being cast.
It's it comes in clutch. Like, it's one of those spells that on the outside it's very boring to take as one of your spells because you only get so many spells, right? And you're like, oh, counter spell, it's very specific, but the amount of times I've seen in D&D games, whether it's my own or other things I've watched like Critical Role, the amount of times counterspell has come in clutched and like saved everyone's life.
Yeah.
Or like stopped the bad guy from like teleporting away, and they're like, counterspell, and like now the bad guy's stuck. So
no, exactly. Yeah, I think it could be quite good. Just for utility purposes, again, I'm not really a spellcaster that cares about casting spells for damage. I'm just in there, so having like a utility spells, I think, are the best things. So yeah, I'll go with that. I'll take counterspell. So what level is that one?
That one is a 3rd level.
Okay. So we've got that then, counterspell. Lovely. And then we've got one more. And I'm just trying to think of maybe the hold person or an additional hex could be quite good.
Definitely.
Let's just
hold person is not only good for like hex is something that only you can benefit from whenever you hit the target, but hold person is something that the entire party can find a lot of use in. Like, for example, if you cast hold person but you're not within range to actually hit him that turn, suddenly the rogue that is from the red zone comes slinking out the shadows and has
Yeah.
advantage on the attack, which means he gets sneak attack and he does a ton of damage.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's damage, but not necessarily through me, through somebody else. So
Yep.
yeah,
And it will, assuming that it takes hold, because there's a chance they can resist it, but assuming it takes hold, that's a full round of all of your party members like wailing on something.
Yeah.
So
Nice. And what's the? Do you know? So is that Do I need to speak to cast that spell as well as wave hands as well? That one is it? Hold person.
that one is verbal, somatic, and material. Now, if something requires material, if you have an voice crack. If you have if you have a arcane focus or a component pouch, you can ignore any material cost unless it has a monetary value. So, for example, a diamond worth 50 gold, or if it's very specific, like for example, in the case of your summon lesser demons, that requires a vial of blood. That would be specific. But for something like hold person, where it says a small straight piece of iron, you won't need that with an arcane focus.
Okay, cool.
So I think technically, your arcane focus might actually be your sword.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing to use, isn't it?
If it's not something that the class gives you for being a Hexblade, I'll probably just give it to you for free, because having to have an extra hand free to cast the spell and then two hands your sword again can be kind of a pain in the ass. So
yeah, it says I do get obviously equipment, a component pouch, or an arcane focus. I don't know what that arcane focus is, so I guess it could just be in the sword or the sword itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a gem in the sword, or I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty lax with that type of thing.
No, that's fine.
So
yeah, we'll take hold person then. So what level's that?
That is a second level, if I am correct. Yes, second level.
Cool. So nice and even then. We've got 2 level 1s, 2 level 2s, 2 level 3s.
Nice. There you go. And then obviously you'll get your expanded spell list on top of that. So whatever that gives you.
Oh yeah.
For level, I think it might be 1, 3, and 5, or might just be 3 and 5.
Yeah, so it says here, Hexblade allows you to choose from an expanded list when you learn a Warlock spell. The following spells are added to the Warlock spell list for you. So Shield and Wrathful Smite are on the first level. So I just get those without having to learn them.
Yep. So they're in addition to what we've chosen. So that's pretty good. Shield is quite nice. It's as a reaction, you can cast it, and it increases your armor class by 5 until your next turn. So I could say, for example, you've currently got a 14 armor class. If I roll and I'm like, does a 16 hit? And you really don't want to take the damage, you could be like, I cast Shield as a reaction. Now my armor class is 19. It doesn't hit anymore. So
okay, and obviously because of these are expanded spells, then I obviously need to prepare them after a long rest or before. I need to choose 2, because I can only have 2, can't I?
So you won't have to prepare as a warlock. All the spells you always have prepared, I believe. Let me double check that.
Because what we're going on to, obviously, what Andrew said earlier about the two slots, 2 big slots. I can only use 2 spells at a time during the day, or
until you take a rest of any sort. But you can cast any spell that you've got.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of how many I can use.
Trying to see here.
Slots expended. What does that mean?
So anytime you cast a spell, it essentially expends one of your spell slots. So it's like a charge.
Oh, okay.
2. How many spell slots you have? Spells known are first and high level. A spell you choose must be no higher level.
Andrew saying you've got 6 bullets but can only fire 2 per test. Whatever that means.
Yep. So yeah, essentially 2 Oh, there you go. 2 per rest. Yep.
Okay.
That's essentially what it means. They didn't name the spell slots quite as well as they could have.
Yeah.
Like spell slots, just from an outside perspective with no context, kind of is a bit confusing. You're like, what is a slot? Do I put stuff into a slot? Like,
yeah, that's right.
Because I know in Pathfinder, which I've recently been making a character for a friend's campaign that I'm going to be playing in, the way they do spells is with your spell slots. Each day when you wake up, you have to specify what spell you want for that slot. So you can't decide in the moment, I want to use 2 damaging spells today. You have to pre-prepare them.
That's that.
Unless that
Yeah.
spellcaster is what they call spontaneous. But for a cleric, which is what I'm playing in that, I have to be like, all right, I'm putting aside these slots specifically for healing spells. You know?
For today, because we know what we're coming up against, sort of thing. Yeah, that's where I got my, predetermined thought of where that was come from. Then, because I thought you had to choose two spells that you could only cast for that day. That's not the case here. I can cast any of the ones that I know, including the ones I've chosen and my expanded ones, but I can only cast 2 in that day, basically.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
Some spellcasters, like wizards, they will have a much bigger list of spells that they can know, or clerics as well. Clerics know every single cleric spell, but they have to choose which ones they want each day.
I see.
Yeah, so as Andrew's saying as well, that's old school D&D rules. That's correct, because Pathfinder is an offshoot of D&D.
Right, okay.
They took the rules and they tweaked it a bunch.
What, from a previous edition or something, yeah?
Yeah, 3.5, I think, is what Pathfinder is based on, and then they just ran it and they've tweaked it a bunch, so... Old school D&D was like that as well.
Yeah.
So Warlocks just know every spell that they know, and they don't have to prepare any each day.
Cool. So I think that's pretty much it, and that's obviously that just leaves the what the weapon does now.
Yes.
So that this will pretty much just finish off the character. So I'm just going to transition to the Soul Harvester, is what you've called it, actually.
Actually, it was your name.
Oh, was it?
I scrolled back up through the stuff. Yeah, I just made the rules.
Sweet, lovely. So let's transition to that page now then. So this is the sword, the Soul Harvester, as you can see on the page here. This is basically what my character is wielding. And it's actually taken from assets that I already have for my actual character graphic, plus some other stuff I just added on there. But yeah, let's reveal what it actually does then. So,
be warned, it is very dark and brooding.
Yeah. And obviously, we'll also say as well that we're going to have an ultimate pit fight between all of the characters that are in this campaign, plus one that I guess you're just going to make up for it.
I actually don't know what I'll be doing for that.
Yeah.
Whether I play some sort of, maybe like an NPC that kind of jumps in and out of the fight at random points, like all of a sudden on turn 3, there's a random beast from Aria has come to join the fight, and I have like a few attacks I can do, and then once I die, I'm out, and then I'll come back in a couple turns later or something, you know?
Yeah.
Something crazy like that, and I just start attacking random people.
Yeah.
I'll have to come up with something cool, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean, what I was getting to is that obviously everyone's character is going to have some sort of thing that can translate into a flesh and blood card. So when we do the pit fight, we're going to have our own custom character with our own custom weapon or armor or something that can then obviously relates to the actual campaign that we're doing here. And this is what I'm going to have. I'm going to have the Soul Harvester in some form of flesh and blood card form, which we haven't actually decided what that's going to be yet. But this is what the D&D version does.
We've got to be very careful turning it into a flesh and blood card, because Shadow Runeblade has previously had some very powerful cards.
That's right. But of course, in Ultimate Pit Fight, you can play with whatever you like. There's no ban list.
There is no ban list, so we got to be extra careful.
Yeah, I mean, spoiling the next episode of the Ultimate Pit Fight, obviously the next one is due to come out tomorrow with Red Zone Rogue, DM Armada, and Spike Feeders Bill. But the one we've just filmed, Stephen from DM Armada was actually using Seeds of Agony in his deck because he was playing Chain. So there's a little bit of a spoiler for you.
That naughty man.
Naughty man. Brilliant. Only DM Armada would do something like that. Absolute degeneracy. Yep. Right, so let's just skip through this one. This is called the Soul Harvester. So the text would have now appeared on screen. It's a longsword, legendary. Obviously, it requires attunement by a Shadow Runeblade, which is obviously what I am. And it says you gain +1 to attack and damage rolls made by this weapon. So that's rolls to hit and then +1 to damage as well. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Cool. And it says whenever a creature with a soul is slain by this weapon, you may decide to absorb its essence into the sword. If you do, the sword gains a soul charge up to a maximum of 3. So this is the sort of flavour that obviously Azra's pact to blaspheme it means that he wants to collect souls and deliver them to the demon every week or whatever the time frame is on that. And this is the flavour of the sword getting the souls and absorbing the souls, basically. And then what you put onto that I've changed it a little bit because obviously the damage type, but you said whilst the sword has at least 1 soul charge, it deals an additional 1d4 necrotic damage. I've changed it to per charge. So every time the sword deals damage, if it's got souls stored in there, it does extra damage depending on how many are in there, up to a maximum of 3. Which is fair enough, because if I would have charged 10 souls in there, it would be pretty ridiculous.
Even though we wanted this to be, a legendary-esque weapon, I still tried to make it within the power level for level 5. I think realistically the entire party is going to be a bit stronger than normal level 5s, but you know, I'll just balance things around it. So
yeah, exactly. You can just make it up as you go along, can't you? So that's the good thing about it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So that sort of signifies that when I'm hitting people with this, the tormented souls that are trapped within are sort of screaming out and putting their ghostly tendrils all over people and stuff. And it says at the end of a long rest, the user, which is Azra, may choose to expend any number of charges from the weapon, sending the soul essence to blaspheme it, which is obviously the theme behind his pact. If the user does not do that, their hit point maximum is reduced by 5 times the number of charges remaining in the sword until they finish a long rest, and this reduction in hit points cannot be removed by any method short of a wish spell. So again, just if I choose to hold those souls in my sword and not deliver them to the demon, I'm still going to have damage in there that I can use, but I'm going to be taking damage as the voices drive me insane in my head from the people that I've killed, basically, which is what you added onto the flavour there, which I think was quite nice.
Yep. So I think it's a nice balance between having some extra damage, which isn't going to be too ridiculous, but also the cool flavour of, if you don't give these to Blasmafet, you're going to suffer the consequences. And, because specifically to gain the charges, you have to be the one to deliver the killing blow. Yeah. Which isn't always the easiest thing to do.
No.
So you might want to really hold on to the charges to get extra damage, but holding on to it for too long means you suffer negative consequences of it. So
exactly. So that works with thematically. That works with cards that have blood debt and soul shackles and all that sort of shadowy Runeblade stuff. How many soul shackles do you want to give yourself? Are you going to take too much blood debt damage and all that sort of thing? I think has been worked into this legendary weapon. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no worries. I think it's pretty balanced. I might tweak it very slightly, but I think I'm pretty happy with it where it's at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm interested to come up with weapons for the other characters and make them just as cool and flavorful, but I really like the idea of having a negative consequence that you could choose to take in order to gain a better benefit, which is really cool. Because you could theoretically kill a couple people, and then for the rest of the day you can be fine swinging away with extra damage, but it's at that last moment where you sleep, when you wake up from your sleep, if you haven't given the souls to Blasmafet, he's gonna steal some essence from you instead. So
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
that's what
I
I
mean,
like.
if you have no charges in the sword, then you have no issues. So if you don't kill anything for the day,
Hmm.
then you don't have to worry about anything. But yeah,
That's what I like about, like any sort of RPG or card game or board game or what have you, whatever sort of medium you want to put it in. I do like the fact that you can. It's like mono black in Magic. You're drawing cards to
Mm.
lose life. In Flesh and Blood, you're banishing cards at the cost of getting that blood debt, which is obviously going to give you damage. You're doing a negative thing, well, a positive thing that gives you benefit straight away, but also in the long run can also hurt you.
Yeah.
So it's like the cost of the ultimate demonic power, which is the flavour that I wanted to have, because I've always liked that sort of class and that sort of flavour. So yeah, I think that's personified quite well in this particular weapon and the class in general. So yeah, I think
I'm glad you like it.
yeah, it's
So,
good, mate. Yeah, it's really good. So I appreciate that. Thanks for popping on and helping me do that. I don't know what I would have done without a bit of guidance with regards to, because all those spells. There's so many, isn't there? So
the
it probably would have.
spellcasters are not the easiest. You definitely didn't choose the easiest class to make, but
No.
I admire your determination to stick with it because it's quite rewarding and quite customizable when you get down to it. So
Yeah, I think that's just my character in life as well. I just jump in the deep end and see what happens. Really, just all or nothing attitude. But yeah, that was pretty good. So I appreciate you coming onto the stream today and helping me with that. But that's pretty
no
much
worries, man.
probably cut off an hour or so of me scrambling through the book as to what spells I want.
Yep.
So yeah, appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah. No worries.
Nice one,
Well,
man.
yeah.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No worries. We'll catch you around. Once obviously you've finished your character, just send me through everything you've got, and if there's anything else I'll have to help you out with or polish up, we'll do that, and then yeah, you'll be ready.
Yeah, sounds good. Cheers for that, mate.
Cool. No worries. Catch ya.
See you later. Lovely. So that was nice of Kale to jump on and help me with my character for the duration of this, because obviously there's a lot that goes into Warlocks. There's a lot of things, especially if you want a damage dealing Warlock that has a custom weapon. You're also using a Roon Chant, which has been made by Collision Point. There's a lot of factors that went into building this character today, so I would appreciate your comments in the section below as to what you would do with regards to a Warlock based on the Runeblade class in Dungeons and Dragons. this is Dungeons and Dragons, but it's based on the world of Flesh and Blood. So I'm just going to run through it again very, very quickly, just so I can gain a bit of a grasp of it. So yeah, this is Azra. He is a level 5 Warlock. His background is a guild artisan, because obviously he's skilled in craft. Player name is Az, that's me. He's got a human variant, so we chose to have Constitution and Charisma get a +1 buff, and as well as that we chose the feat Savage Attacker. Due to his background, he murdered a bunch of bandits as a result of seeing his village decimated or destroyed, or whatever you want to call it, and he just ran straight into battle with this hand axe and savagely attacked and murdered loads of people after seeing his family and friends laid out in the village there. So Savage Attacker with the human variant feat. Obviously, we have an armor class of 14 because of the armor that we're wearing. We've been given, or we bought actually, scale mail armor, which obviously gives us the 14 AC. We know Common and Infernal languages. Common is obviously the normal common language. Obviously, Infernal is the demonic language, so obviously we know that. We've got Smith's Tools, proficiency with that, because obviously we've got proficiency with building and crafting. Light armor, simple weapons, medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. We've got proficiencies with. And then we've got the abilities here. We've got hit points, 33. So it's not too bad. We did roll for the hit points, but obviously that wasn't too good, the results that we got there. We've got 33 hit points, obviously D8 dice, of course. Travel speed of 30 feet, because I'm a human, so nothing special there. Initiative of +0, because I haven't got much dex. Then we've got a couple of things here. We've got Hex Blade Curse and obviously Maddening Hex upgrade for level 5. We've got Hex Warrior, Thirsting Blade for 2 attacks. Fiendish Vigor for temporary hit points, which obviously works with the sword that we've got here, the Soul Harvester, still flashed up. We've got Eldritch Smite as another one of the feats that we've chosen instead of the ability to score improvement. And then obviously we've got Savage Attacker as well. And then the spells that we have here, obviously spell casting ability is based on charisma. We've got spell save DC of 14 and a spell attack bonus of 6, plus 6. We've got the Roon Chant, which is a cantrip that Collision Point made. So if I could just flash this back up, this Roon Chant, let me just add this Roon Chant back in. So I think it's quite cool. Obviously, I know that my Runeblade is very much a sort of Warlock, Shadow Runeblade, but I thought it was quite cool that this Roon Chant needs to be added on here as well. So there we go, Roon Chant as a Conjuration cantrip, only costs 1 bonus action as well, which is pretty good. You can create Roon Chants, and whenever you attack with your weapon, you can obviously blow those Roon Chants up to take 1 point of necrotic damage for every Roon Chant you've created, which I think is quite cool. So that's pretty good. Then we have Eldritch Blast, Sword Burst, which I think is like a bit of an AoE attack, similar to Ninth Blade in sort of aesthetics. I thought that was quite good. You've got Armour of Blasphemate, or Armour of or something, can't remember what it was called. Hellish Rebuke, Shield, Wrathful Smite as first level spells. Misty Step, Hold Person, Blur, Branded Smite. As second level. Level 3, we've got Summon Lesser Demons, Counterspell, Blink, and Elemental Weapon as our level 3 spells. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's a character that really does sort of encapsulate hybrid damage, but also making pacts with demons, in this case Blasphemate, and just having an awesome bit of flavour here, using the Dungeons and Dragons tools that we can use, as well as obviously some homebrewed stuff from Collision Point. I think it's been a great little exercise to create a character. So thank you very much for Kale, or DeadSummerArt, who's going to be the DM for this particular game. And that's pretty much it. Have you decided to build some characters based on the world of Wraith? What would you do with a Runeblade? Leave a comment in the section below, or yeah, just reach out to me on Twitter and see what you would do. Let me know. But it's been good fun. So thanks all for tuning in. And yeah, DeadSummerArt, you're saying very solid character with a good mix of flavour. Yeah, I think we did a good job. I think we did a very, very good job. Obviously, the first part of it was quite slow because I was still getting to grips of obviously building characters again. But yeah, it's been a good one. It's been a really, really good one. So thanks very much for everyone who's tuned in now, in the future, or in the past. If you were dropped off for whatever reason, thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next video or stream or whatever we choose to do. But yeah, the Ultimate Pit Fight video, the second version, the second episode is coming out tomorrow at 4 PM GMT, and it's also going to be released on Red Zone Rogue's channel at 9 AM Pacific Standard Time, and on DM Armada's channel at 11 AM Central Time. So make sure you stay tuned to that. It's going to be a good one. Spent a lot of time on it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Peace.